ready? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your attention. I'd like to open the open meeting for the Coventry School Committee. I have 7:04. Could I have a roll call, please? Here.
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 Present. Here.
Thank you. Could we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Right there,
Right there.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if you could remain standing for a moment of silence as we consider the work before us this evening. You may be seated. Excuse me, could we please have order? Thank you for your cooperation. And Mr. Levis, if you could do the safety notifications for the public, please.
Sure, there are exits in the front, in the middle, and to the rear of the auditorium in case of emergency.
Thank you. And Member Colunian, if you could honor us with reading the mission statement for Coventry Public Schools.
The Coventry Public Schools, with community partnership, educate, inspire, and motivate students to be lifelong learners.
Thank you. Moving on to our business agenda, item number 2, fiscal 20 budget update and discussion, and 3, the discussion on the reduction of sports after-school activities and clubs are going to be combined. So I will not call for 2 separate agenda items. Mr. Levis is going to take that, and basically there'll be it's a combined agenda item.
Thank you. Just want to start off by saying this evening that we've put forward a budget that completely protects our educational system. And we met today with the town manager, and we reiterated the fact that this is the budget that we need, this is the budget that the school committee unanimously supported, that the town council put forward, and we're asking that that's the budget that is put forward again on Tuesday evening. There'll be a town council meeting here Tuesday evening, I believe, at 7 o'clock, and they've reserved the high school. And I would ask everybody and to get everybody to this meeting on Tuesday. That's when the council will put forward another budget. And again, we, Sarah Mangiarelli, our Director of Finance, and myself, we met with the town manager, Mr. Wazika, and we met with the town finance director, John Arnett, and we were emphatic that any resemblance, if you were there the other night, they presented 3 different options, and those options are not what's in the best interest of Coventry Public Schools. And it's something that I believe, and I hope that this community believes in fighting for. Can you go, never mind, keep that slide. So I just wanted, these are just some quotes just to look, again, the timeline that we had presented the school committee. It was approved, the town council. They approved our budget with a reduction of $100,000. So it went from $1,560,000 to $1,460,000. And we felt we could absorb that without significant reduction to any services, any activities, any programs, and continue with the momentum that we believe that many of the people in this room, including students and parents and educators and administrators, have put forth this year. And there's just a couple of quotes. One is that was a quote from me, and this was in April 15, that we want the community to know that, first of all, we could not function if we had to be level funded. And what we're going to talk about later on is not something that we can tolerate, that we should be able to accept, but based today, it's going to be our current reality if things don't change. There's a quote there from Ms. Mandrelli, said that she was adamant that the district's proposed budget be the one presented to the voters. I would rather stand up and say, this is what it costs to run this school district, Mandrelli said, and if they vote it down, then we would have to go back. But I can't, in good conscience, stand up here right now and say I would recommend any additional cuts. And this is probably the first year that we've really worked closely together with the council, definitely with the town manager and the finance director, and came to the conclusion that this is what's in the best interest of the community. They put forward a budget for the municipal side that they felt's in the best interest of the community. Can you go to the next slide, please? And maybe I'm naive, and I see the sentiment. I don't really read the Facebook. But this was extremely disheartening when I saw the results. I don't know if many of you followed it on YouTube. And to see that only out of 40,000 residents, approximately 27,000 registered voters, that less than 8% of the voters voted, and only 3% voted to support schools. And so what we're going to talk about tonight is because of this current situation that we're in, that by voting down the budget that we put forward, that we're going to put forward again, and we ask that you support and get people to the town council meeting Tuesday to reiterate that this is what we need to operate the schools. For me, as superintendent, and I'm sure as many of you, I still am struggling to wrap my head around how this could happen. And yet, we do have another bite at the apple. And like I said, we're going forward, and we weren't willing to reduce and say, well, we can take $500,000, because we can't. And you'll see later on that even since last Thursday, how things have started to compound. And again, what I'm asking, and I hope that you ask and you get the message out, that we need to really inspire this community to support education, because if that doesn't happen, the end result is going to be devastating. And I've used the word, it's overused, but it's catastrophic, because to me, catastrophic is something that's hard to rebound from. We cannot allow that to be the option. You cannot allow that. I cannot allow that. Unfortunately, it's based on this community and the voters. And we know that there are issues, we know that there's concerns, we know about sustainability, we talk about that. But the way that I was brought up, and I think most of you in my interaction, is that we problem solve, right? We get together, we come to the table, we try to figure it out. Just saying no, just turning our back on our future, on our children, is not a solution. It's not a way that we problem solve. But unfortunately, we're going to go back to the same process, right? There's going to be budget put forward Tuesday night. If that, we have to be adamant that this is what we need to run the schools. Because whatever the council puts forward is what's going to be voted on. And we're looking now, and you'll see later on, I think it's around June 20th. And we've scheduled a meeting following that so that we can take action and do what we need to do to make sure that we put the best product and that we support you and support this community. Next slide, please. So we had a meeting before with the administrators, and this is what we need to make sure it doesn't happen, right? This is what we cannot tolerate as a community, as a school district. But this is not to come here and to threaten you, to threaten this community. That no vote put us into a situation where there is a possibility that at the end of this, we may be level funded if things don't change, right? We had that meeting last night, and I applaud all those parents and students and definitely educators that showed up. But there was about 360 some odd individuals. Now, I know the hall was small and the people in the back couldn't hear, but we've got to inspire more people to share their voice around education. Because here's the reality. that if we have to cut $1.5 million, and you'll see as we go through this on the next slide, we're approaching over $2 million in terms of what we need to cut. And that's why we have to take some action tonight. But we cannot run a school without you. We cannot run a system without you. But I need you to look at this, and just so you know, tomorrow we're going to be meeting the central office team, and we're going to be articulating exactly what this means for each school. Again, we're going to say if the budget's level funded, Mr. Anderson, you'll tell me if I can do this or not, but we're not telling people what to do, what to vote, but we want to be very clear to Black Rock School, this is what you will lose. And there was a woman last night who was incredibly articulate, right? And she came up and said, and simplified it, and I believe she said, and maybe you're here tonight and you can reiterate it, but said that she did the math, and on a $300,000 home, right, it was about $20 a month, right? So as I go through this list, and I thought that was brilliant, as I go through this list, think about, is this worth $20 a month? Because this is what we are going to lose, right? The key is, I appreciate everybody being here tonight, but we've got to get the community to think about that. Is this worth $20 a month? High school athletics reduction. You know, everything about me and my children, you hear me talk about, my daughter's a teacher in Attleboro High School. I had to give her a heads up because I'm on the news a lot lately. My son is graduating this year from Attleboro High School. He received the highest honor that you receive as a scholar, athlete, sportsmanship. And yet I told him, I said, I need to sit here tonight to you and say, if we do not get the budget that we put forward, that we said emphatically we need to continue the progress and keep that laser beam focus on students, this is what's going to happen. So we're going to have some serious reduction of athletics at the high school. Could be, you know, when I put down here hockey and football, and this is not scare tactics. I had lunch yesterday with Mr. Dunbar, Coach Dunbar, because I wanted him, he's done an incredible job, and I could target many coaches. But I wanted him to understand the ramifications, and I also wanted to understand that, you know, how can this guy say how much I appreciate the teaching young men and women to be responsible, contributing adults, and yet I needed him to hear from me. Because I had an email, and I could tell he really didn't understand didn't understand the gravity of the situation. You know, and trying to convey that this is not personal, though I get it's personal because it's your life. But this is our reality. High school athletic transportation. I attach numbers to these. This PowerPoint is on our website, and I apologize for not making copies, but it was actually being just completed. I was trying to figure out what's the best way to convey a message. It was being completed right before the meeting. Middle school athletics, $35,000. Middle school athletic transportation, $13,000. Elementary extracurricular. So if we're level funded, these things are going, right? I mean, we don't have a choice, and we'll send this information out to the individual schools tomorrow so you can share with your families, however you choose to share. We can send it to PTAs, to any organization, and then they can do whatever they want. And I ask for your support to do that. Again, I'm not telling people what to say. I'm going to say, as that woman said last night, is this worth $20 a month on a $300,000 house? Drama, safety club, yearbook. I go into the elementary schools, I see how much pride that safety club instills. You know, for me, I got to be honest, when I first got here and seeing kids wear these yellow, green things, I'm thinking like, you know, what's up with Coventry, you know? Right? But then you start to see the pride. I mean, some of the biggest issues that maybe I've dealt with is when a child is being pulled off of safety patrol because of an incident or behavior, and the parent calls up and seeing how much of the culture this is, how much this means. And yet that'll be gone. Middle school, high school, extracurricular, drama, yearbook, team clubs, freshman, sophomore clubs, jazz band, marching band, $159,000, right? Devastating, devastating. Equipment supply line reduction, $45,000. We already cut $114,000. You know, we know how little supplies we have in school, right? You know that our budget this year for facility repairs, right? I tell people it's around between $60,000 and $70,000. If you do a bathroom and a kitchen in your house, that's pretty much gone. That's what we have. It's not acceptable. We're not going to we're not going to put a dean on at the middle school. And we were adamant about that. We kept that, and I understand, you know, but safety is first, and we felt that was adamant. We were adamant about safety, but we need to pull that out. We're looking at the reduction of potentially one kindergarten teacher, but we also know that depends on enrollment. But we put in that would be a savings of $81,000. We had new supervisory assistants. You know, I receive emails all the time. We know how bad an issue the vaping situation is here in the high school and starting to be in the middle school, and we had an issue in an elementary school already. And we want to try to help support, you know, more supervision, helping some supervision and safety throughout the building. And we wanted to put on these positions for the high school and the middle school. We thought that would help the students, help the educators, help our administrators. That's going to be gone. Washington Oak assistant principal we wouldn't fill. We wouldn't fill the assistant principal at the high school. And what we would do is administrators, myself, Ms. Andrews, Mr. Coward, other central office administrators, because we can't leave people hanging, we would support them. And I would spend a day at the high school. I would spend a day at the elementary school. And we would rotate through because we still need to provide support. And I know there's always a question about administrators, and you know, and I get that. You know, there could be other decisions as people leave or not filling contracts. You know, like this, and we need to get the work done just like you need to get the work done. But it's something we need to look at. You know, with all the sports, we look at the assistant athletic director position. Educational program restructure. This is the killer, right? This is the one that people need to look at. The only place that, remember last year we cut 21.6 positions. Many of you were involved in that. We were in the same situation last year, and I remember sitting and talking to Ms. Patino and saying, you know, I don't ever want to go through that again. And fast forward 3 months ago, I never imagined that we'd be in this situation, and here we are. We're looking at restructuring the high school because the only place that we can cut, we need bodies in front of students. And there's a lot that has to go into this, but we've had conversation with different individuals. The only place that we can cut, because students need the positions at the middle school and at the elementary school, and it's all about coverage, would be at the high school. And eliminating a lot of those courses, you know, we've already talked about eliminating a lot of things that keep kids in school, right, that get you to school. I didn't go to school because I liked my teachers. I didn't go to school because I liked the content. I went to school because I liked the camaraderie on football and in track, but that helped me stay in school. But it's ironic that tonight I sit in front of you and saying those are the things that are going to go. If, and we have to stress the if, the budget gets voted down by the taxpayers on June 20th, if that's it. These are all things that are true possibilities if the budget doesn't pass. That, what I've just presented to you, is $968,000 in reductions. And there may be challenges in certain things that we're looking to do here. There's waivers that we can look at. I was looking with Ms. Mangiarelli today at Warwick Public Schools, certain waivers that they had required from Department of Ed. Some of the waivers I may need to go to the U and say, can we do this? And not saying that they will say yes, but that would be the first respectful action I would take. Other waivers, we could go to the Department of Ed and say, can we do this? Unfortunately, in what we've looked at in terms of a Cranston case and looking at a Warwick case, the waivers were rejected. And the waivers would be a way for us to save funds. So we're looking at everything. The next slide, please. So this is the challenge, and this is what I really struggle with, but I know I'm not a parent in Coventry. And I try to, there's nothing I can do or say that's going to put me in that position. But we've already had significant, in less than a week, we've had significant number of individuals apply to Pontiac, apply to Warwick. Some have applied to Catholic schools. And so I respect people's right, and I guess as a parent, I'm sure I'd be in the same situation or thinking about it. I guess the other part is that I just pray that people will fight for this educational system, right? So I understand getting yourself in a position, and maybe that's what people are doing to make sure that their children have the best opportunity next year. But I hope that doesn't mean that people are going to give up and not fight, because that's the only way that this is going to go through. That if people truly believe in what we're doing. You know, we have so many educators here, so many of you, so many times you hear about, you know, generations that, you know, and again, I'm not trying to point out people's age, but there's generations that people have taught. So, like, I hope that that's so important for this community to fight for. We're also losing tuition. You know, we've worked hard. You guys have worked hard on a lot of our programs. We have the ROTC that had 20 students coming in from next year, has put on the marksmanship program. We're going to have a drone program where you actually get FAA certification and can get 12 credits, right? That's just an example. We look at our industrial welding program. We look at our culinary program. But we're losing kids. Kids are deciding that we're going to be tuitioned in. You know, have been calling Miss Ferguson, and letting her know that they're concerned and that some are going to be looking elsewhere. And how do we stop that? How do we stop that? But that's something we didn't budget for. You know, we're looking at, we also have students that I haven't signed off on that are going to places. We never filled the librarian at the middle school, right? Like, there's not a day I go in there that I don't recognize that we haven't filled it. And, you know, Ms. Aronakis and I don't want you to think that that's been ignored. You know, I had made a commitment that we're going to take care of that, and that's why I threw it on this sheet. I have no idea how we're going to take care of that, but I made a commitment that we need to do that. And that's something that we lost last year, and people said, how could you do that? And I said, you know, there is no answer for that. I needed to make a cut. It's not a great answer, but that's the truth. But that's on here. Anticipated special education positions. We had said in a former presentation that in our original budget, we had about $159,000 for additional special ed positions, but they were what we thought we were going to need, but they weren't definite, so we pulled them out. We did include it at a slide when we presented to the town council, but now we need them. And so we put them back on this. We also know that we have a special education program need that's going to cost us over $100,000 that just happened recently. We also know that we're going to have amazing, incredible unemployment insurance if we don't do something very quickly. So this brings the total amount necessary to cut the $1.5 million by another $600,000 plus unemployment. So we're looking at, you know, and that's on the numbers we have right now. If we lose 10 more students, if we lose 20 more students, if we lose 30 more students, and you compound that by $15,000 or $16,000 a student, plus transportation, we could easily be approaching $2.5 million, close to $3 million, which is just mind-boggling. So we have to put ourselves in a position where we have an opportunity to be creative. But the real position that this community needs to put themselves in is to make it, you know, on Tuesday evening, but also on June 20th. Because what I had mentioned tonight is not a threat. And I even said, and without not trying to be disrespectful to the administrators, but I just need people to understand this is real. Like, this could be our reality. I pray that it's not our reality, but this could be our reality. And in 2019, there's no excuse for this. There's no excuse whatsoever, except, I constantly hear it, even last night, after all the support that was given last night, and the students, and some heart-wrenching. I tell people, I cry at old movies, right? Heart-wrenching stories, and students coming up and pointing out to, this person was the first person I called, right? I called my dad, but then I called this person. I called this person. Mr. Cook was referenced helping a student out, right? That's what we do. That's what you do. But this is real. And I don't know how to get, I don't know how. And I've struggled with this. How do we get this community to understand that this is not a joke? This is not a threat. Because when we left last night, I heard some individuals say, yeah, but that's what the teachers do. They come out, they rally, they come out. How do we get people to believe that, all right, maybe this 700 and some odd people, that was just an anomaly, right? That there are more people in Coventry that care about education than 761, and care about good services. Our police department, they are incredible partners with what we do, right? I know Mr. Robilaud's here, and I don't know if you even know, the irony of this is we wrote a grant around helping social emotional needs of students and children throughout Coventry. We wrote a Rhode Island Foundation grant. Mr. Robilaud and myself, 62 organizations applied. We received Monday, and Ms. Aronakis was there, because you guys, the CTA, supporting it was what put us over the top. It was the last piece of information we needed to make sure the teachers support this. We got $440,000 for the next 3 years to supplement, to provide service, to pay teachers to be trained, right? And I've only brought it up now because the irony is that's the same day many of you got layoff letters, right? So, you think we're doing a good thing, and we think we're provide the support, and it is a good thing. And it wasn't just about educators. It's going to train every individual in Coventry who touches a student, has an impact. We're going to train them so that they can be helpful and respond to a student in need and assess the impact that trauma has. And I only bring that up because the only reason we did that is because of you. And yet tonight, this is the situation we're at. Can you go to the next slide, please? So what happens next? So May 28th, 2019, which is Tuesday night, there's going to be a town council meeting here, and the town council is going to put forward a number. And that number that we asked, and again, I don't want to put the town manager on the spot, but we had a commitment that he would bring that number forward, that we were adamant that the number, the budget that we put forward, that we've been putting forward since January, that we said we need to support Coventry Public Schools, that number will be brought forward by the town manager to the town council. Now, the frustration is we have no control over what the town council does, right? But I know, just like with the school committee members, and I get calls periodically, if somebody has a complaint and they live in District 5, they know who to call. If somebody has a complaint and they live in District 2, they know who to call. On June 20th, that's the tentative date of the second referendum. And then June 21st would be our school committee meeting. So I guess I just summarize by saying none of this has to happen, right? And that's not like, but I'm not holding the cards. I understand. I received an email from a young girl in high school a couple days ago, and she was very angry, and rightfully so. And I understand that I'm the superintendent, and there's a lot that comes with it. Most of it is good. Some of it is not good. But she was very angry because She's talking about my high school career shouldn't be like this. We're stressed out. You know, we should be talking about the prom. We should be talking about athletics. We should be able to go and cheer at a volleyball game. You know, I shouldn't have to worry about my graduation. I shouldn't have to worry about, am I going to have a prom next year? I shouldn't have to worry about, can we have a field trip? And I said to her, you know, you're absolutely right, you know, and, you know, shouldn't have to. But we are. You shouldn't have to worry about, you know, is your health care going to go away? You know, will you be recalled? You shouldn't have to worry about that. But unfortunately, that's where we're at. And so I just wanted to present that, let you know that tomorrow that we will be creating one-page sheets for every school and talking about what a level-funded budget would look like. And again, I go back to that analogy that I just thought it was perfect, because we all can relate, I think, to $20, right? For me, it's a haircut once every 6 months, but it's a haircut, right? $20 a month. And that list that I read, and why we're here tonight, $20 a month. And I think we've got to convey that somehow. And we talked about that tonight as an administrative team, you know, and Ms. Anzalone was very helpful with that too. Just people need to know exactly what they're going to lose, because I don't think they get it. I don't think they understand what exactly is at stake. And we're just talking about it now. You're experiencing it obviously now. But think about those other things that I read off the list, what that'll look like, what that'll feel like. You know, I still can't wrap my head around how we got here. You know, maybe I know this history, but you know, on May 23rd in 2019 that we're having this conversation. So that's the presentation. I know this is a public session, and you know, again, any comments or questions. And you know, somebody had said to me, you know, send me an email, are you going to change the budget, you're going to do something tonight? And like I said, unfortunately right now it comes down to the voters. And I'm not saying this, I just want you to know that we recognize what your value is, and we recognize moving forward what we need to operate these schools. We recognize the sacrifices that you make. You know, I was on a radio station with one of the former students, many of you, Dan Paquette, somebody's nephew here, and I was telling him, and I don't want to target like Miss Paquette, but I didn't mention her name, Carla, but I go in that classroom on Wednesdays and just to read, and I look at, just in that classroom, the diversity of students, the needs, and I'm exhausted just walking in there, and God's honest truth. Miss Mangiarelli sees me sometime with the kids there, and I could never do that, you know, I can tell you that. And people do not understand that today. Our community, most communities, I do not believe they understand what you do every day, which doesn't do anything for what we're doing tonight, but I'm just going to tell you that that's what we need to convey to people. We need to get that out there. We need to bring back respect to education. You know, I don't know, but I don't feel it. We need to bring that back. And I think why we're going forward with this budget, and we're asking them to put that budget back again, is to demonstrate that this is what we need to keep supporting this community moving forward, and to show that respect, not just to each other, but to the students that are in your care every single day. You know, we need every single person here. The last thing I'll say is that our original plan moving forward was minimal layoffs based on long-term leaves. You know, there was nothing that we like I said, our budget continued, and that budget we put forward continues all the services, continues to provide the support, and actually we thought we were going to provide a little additional support. But this is where we're at. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Levis. Before I allow the public to come to the microphone and comment or question on this presentation, I am going to ask the school committee if they want to ask any questions to Mr. Levis or make any comments before we start the public discussion. Mr. Florio?
I have to say, I am so sick and I've been on the school committee since June 2013, and every year we've had the fight, we've had the claw, and we've had to not get the funding we needed. Mr. Levis has done a wonderful job. However, let me bring you back to 2013, which was known as the Oak Haven screw job, when the teachers gave the town $1.2 million in raises, and the town took that money and kept it. And since that time, the town has not given us maintenance of effort. For a number of years, no one received raises. I mean, for 5 years, maybe some administrators 10 years. We've been able to, through Mr. Levis's part, we've brought back unified sports. We've made, well, it was never gone, but it's turned into a wonderful, wonderful program. Football, Mr. Levis was able to recruit with the help of the athletic department, recruited a coach who was able to beat West Warwick for the first time in 40-some years. And the Voc Tech. And under Mr. Levis, the Voc Tech has really come into its own. But the backbone of all this is not the team. He's assembled a tremendous team of administrators. We've had tremendous teachers, and that's the backbone, and SRP people, and that's the backbone of any school department. The teachers and the TAs and the SRP personnel. From what Mr. Levis has indicated through many meetings that we had, we were climbing the ladder. We weren't at the middle anymore. We were climbing the ladder, and we were becoming as good as we were 20 years ago. I just want to say, this attack on the school department has been going on since 2010. They don't give us, ever since the General Assembly decided to take the budget out of the school committee's hands and give it to the town council. And we've been getting hit after hit after hit after hit, 10 years of hits. And to be honest with you, as a school committee member who's been here 6 years, I'm getting very tired of it. I'm getting very tired of these ceremonies where we have to explain to the teachers that are working every day and putting in time with the kids, and nobody realizes what you really do. Nobody sees what happens in the classroom. The parents really don't see it. They don't see the effort that the athletic department puts in. They don't see the effort that Mrs. Aronakis puts in as an English teacher and as a civics instructor. They don't see the work that the elementary school teachers do. They don't see the work that the preschool does. They don't see the work that the kindergarten teachers do. We have to fund a K-12 system And yes, our budget has gone up. Our budget has gone up. But so is the cost of living. So is the cost of inflation. So is everything. I see Chief Brown here. Hi, Chief. Yeah, I'll wrap it up. Chief Brown's daughter was laid off after working as a substitute teacher here for many, many years. So she got a job in the private sector, and she was working as a substitute teacher, and she was living in an apartment of our friends. And what happened was she got laid off, and she was injured. And now she's having a hard time. And I can't tell you how many people that were laid off. I don't know how many people who were laid off that happened to. But I will shut up, Kathy. I will keep my mouth shut, Mr. Levis. I know, you're welcome.
Thank you.
But it's not right. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So can I just say, I'll be quick, and I know, but just one correction, Mr. Florio, and I don't have the history that obviously you have here, but I do want to say, in fairness, that the working this year with the town manager and the finance director, because in the past it has been a challenge, but this year that we worked very closely together, and that, if you remember, like, the budget was supported and put forward, and I have to stress that while we need to reiterate that this is what we need to operate schools, and that needs to be clearly articulated to the town council on Tuesday, that they worked very closely with us in this year in the budget. So I don't want to go off on a rail in saying that this year they weren't supportive, because they were supportive, and we didn't have to fight this year. But unfortunately, with the new process, that the taxpayers voted it down. That's all. I just want to be clear about that.
Thank you, Mr. Levis. Mr. Murray?
So do I say. I'm motivated, to be honest with you. I'm angry. I've been frustrated. I've been thinking about for a week what I'm going to say here. And I didn't even write anything down because there's so many mixed things that I could say. How many people in this room, please stand up, went to high school with me? How many teachers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, here.
Coventry.
Take a look around. These are people who came back with me to raise their children, to teach in the school system, who went through Coventry High School. Thank you. You can sit down. For most of you know, out of the town council and the school committee, I have the youngest children in the system, 8 and 11. This is personal for me. I've gone through mixed emotions on this. And the first emotion is always to lash out and go back, like most people did last night. They lashed out at the council, and Ms. Aronika sent us an email. And she's right. Some of this, the school committee has to own, and I'll speak for myself. This is in my opinion. We have to do better. We have to own this. We didn't get the word out either. Now, I'm not saying we own it all, because you also have to look left and look right, because you own it too. Because we all need to get out there and do our job during this season. And we know it comes, and every year we lurch along. But I'm more interested in looking forward. I learned a lot a couple weeks ago as the kids from the Unified program stood up in front of us. Here are these kids working together towards a common goal. And I saw last night, and I want to address something was in Ms. Aronika's email about not standing up last night. I did attend the meeting, and I didn't stand up. I wanted to let the community comment. I wanted to let them vent. And I also wanted to not continue the railing against the council, because for the first year in a long time, I think the council saw that the schools were important and that we were working as a team towards a common goal, which is what Unify has taught us. And all of us need to be together in that common goal, whether you work for Department of Public Works, or police, or fire, or schools. We provide the public service that's important to everybody. We provide safety, security for our kids, education. And we can channel that energy, and we can get angry, We can get angry, we can say we weren't notified, we can talk about the things that weren't done, but the truth is, we have the opportunity to do things now. This is not over. I don't accept that this is done. I don't accept a 2.5% budget. I don't accept the 1.5. I expect what was there in the table when we first voted. I think there was a little bit of misinformation, or it wasn't necessarily misinformation. Maybe people just didn't feel notified enough, or maybe it's just the thought that people grind it out year to year, and they just think, you know what, someone else will take care of it. We'll make it through. Well, as you can see, we're on the border this year. But somebody made the comment, we were climbing the ladder. We are climbing the ladder. The culture in this school alone has turned around, and we are climbing the ladder. And this narrative that we have going, that Coventry schools are on the downward spiral, let's stop that. Let's resolve to stop that. Because those tuition outs shouldn't be tuitioning out. We are a team, we stick together. And that includes all those students. You don't bow out as a team. There's something I learned in the military, it's no slack. You don't bow out when things get tough. You don't make excuses. You don't blame it on other people. You take ownership, and you move forward. And that's what we need to do. Communication strategy moving forward, looking at a financial subcommittee going forward, looking at things, and even those people who vote against the budget, the people who are less fortunate than we in this room who can afford that $20, we have to consider them. And we have to provide the narrative next year of why they should support the schools, why they should support the town, why they should support our team. So I'll wrap it up. I'm gonna, it's not, as I said, it's not easy for me. I'll leave it with one last thing for the voters out there who maybe aren't so supportive of schools. If for nothing else, if you're not tugged on the heartstrings by the students standing up, or you're not in support of education, let me tell you this. I just graduated my master's in public administration off the GI Bill, and I learned something in basic budgeting. This cut doesn't make sense. It doesn't make economic sense. It's going to hurt us long term. It's going to hurt us in the next few months. The unemployment insurance alone is going to hurt us. So if you do it for nothing else, do it because it's a bad deal. What was presented was a fair budget. You want responsible government? This is what responsible government looks like. It's painful, but it's community coming together to do the right thing and not kicking the can down the road. Thank you.
Donna?
I didn't sleep last night. I probably haven't slept well in about a week. Since the budget failed, I just looked at my husband and said, what are we going to do? You know, it's like, I can't even express. I look out in the audience, and these people helped me raise my children. My children went to these schools. They are successful adults because of everyone here. And to have to say, we have to lay you off because the people in town do not want to fund anything. We've got all of these programs, they don't come free. They have to be paid for. So why does it always have to fall on the backs of the teachers? Unfortunately, you know, that's what happens. It always comes down to, well, the teachers have to get laid off. But that, you know, it's not just going to be teachers. They're cutting everything. They're going to find out that, you know, they're going to try and get out of their house on a snowy day, and they're not going to be able to because the road isn't plowed. And unfortunately, and I sit here and I know what it's like to lose my job. I know what it's like to get laid off. It's not a good feeling, and my heart goes out to everyone. I don't know what else to say, but I just want you to know that I am going to fight tooth and nail for that budget. I have to deliver the school committee meeting, school committee notes on Tuesday, and I'm going to make sure that I ask them again to please think about putting forth the original budget, because I believe that that's what we need. We need that, and then we'll work on next year. But for right now, I'm going to fight tooth and nail to get people out to vote for that budget, and I hope you all will too. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson.
I'm going to break the pattern a little bit. I wasn't going to make a big statement, because in nights like this, everything I say will be self-serving. This is the worst thing that can happen to our town and our school district when we're laying people off, especially for what I think has been well expressed here, for something that is really an ill-conceived result of an election for various reasons. So I'm not going to pat myself on the back and say, oh, I empathize with you. I empathize with you. Some people in this room probably teach my children or have taught my children. In fact, a lot of people in this room have probably taught my children over the years, and all good people. So, breaking pattern, I actually have questions, believe it or not. I know that's a big surprise. But before I ask my questions, I do want to correct Mr. Murray, because I think he was being too kind. There were 2 ads run in the Reminder, full-page ads. Went beyond misinformation, and they were outright lies. The person who published them has not apologized. Take that in perspective. There are special interests in this town. There are self-interests in this town who would rather see things burn than us move forward as a community. And yes, we need to work together to squash those interests, drive them out of town. I don't care. I want this town to move forward. I'm sick and tired of these people trying to line their own pockets on my back. And they know who they are if they're watching. Hi. Always got to wave to the camera. There were 500 people on YouTube watching the meeting last night, live stream. Significant. So for all the people that were in the room, there are 500 people on YouTube watching. Fighting tooth and nail. So I'm encouraged to hear that the town manager is going to bring our original budget forward to the council to approve next week. As far as fighting tooth and nail, we need to do more as a school committee. I want to seat at that table. Mr. Levis, I would encourage you, I know it's might even be too late because it's Thursday and there's a holiday. I would have hoped last night and next week there would have been at least some attempt at a budget workshop and bring the school committee officially in a public forum to the table to have a discussion and not relegate us to the audience to sit and watch with the rest of the taxpayers as they try to dismantle the budget. So let's all keep fighting for that seat at the table. The town council cannot work in a vacuum. They need our input. That's all I have to say. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
I'm not sure if this is going to fall on me, so just bear with me. I do just want to clarify, we did have a meeting with the town manager and the town finance director today, and really it was more of a strategy to decide which direction we want to go in. And our position was that we're not going in any other direction. We put a lot of time into this budget. This is my second budget that I'm bringing forward to you. I have not made it a secret that Coventry has some cleanup work to do. One being our 12.5% increase on our health insurance, which is cleanup from years past. I have said multiple times that I would not stand before you and recommend a different budget, because in my heart of hearts, I don't believe that we can afford a different budget. What we said to the town today is we're going to make people unhappy if we go middle of the road who wanted zero, and we're going to make people unhappy who wanted the full funded budget if we go middle of the road. I am confident that this school system cannot operate the way that it's operating on anything less than we propose. So our recommendation was we stand by our budget. We go all in because that's what we needed. Last night, I think you heard a lot of different town departments stand up saying that they did the same exact thing. They brought forward a responsible, well-thought-out, thorough budget that met their needs. Is this my dream budget of bringing forward? Absolutely not, because we still have sky-high class sizes. We don't have a second language at the middle school. We are not doing some of the initiatives that we need to be doing, but it's maintaining our program, and it's allowing us the resources to analyze our current systems, to make improvements far beyond what it looks like, on a daily basis. So I just want to be clear that we had that firm stance with the town. They still have a lot of work to do on their side. I am hopeful that the town manager listens not only to the school department, but also to all the other departments that stood up last night, adamant that the budget that they presented was what they needed. So hopefully Tuesday night, that will be the budget that's presented, but I just want to be clear that there were no guarantees that that was a definite that was going forward.
Thank you, Sarah. So my final thoughts on all of this. My first thought is, I guess we were somewhat naive in our belief that because we actually had worked with the town council this year and had sat down and come up with a budget that we, even as Sarah said, still wasn't our dream budget on the school side, but it was realistic if we didn't want to lose any services for our students, our teachers, et cetera. And so because I thought we really agreed as a team, two teams together working, and I've been on school committee 16 years, so I've seen a lot of scapegoating on the schools, back and forth and fighting. I've heard so many citizens say at so many meetings, can't you guys work together? And so ironically, this year we did. And so we didn't put out the scare tactics because we actually kind of thought the budget made sense. They've all supported it publicly when they voted. We all supported them as well. So to have it fail so miserably was actually a shock. I mean, I started hearing things out in the community, but quite frankly, I was shocked. I was shocked. I really thought it would pass, and it didn't, much to all of our disappointment. That being said, now everybody, I hope, knows the ramifications of inaction by our citizenry. I truly believe that many people really, when there's a national election, a state election, there's so much stuff on the news. You hear election day is November 11th or whatever date it is. Is it the 11th? The 8th or whatever it is. People know of it, and so they're prepared. And even still, there's kind of low voter turnout. On special elections in the past in Coventry, it's been small. I guess we should have maybe expected that a referendum vote, especially since it's the first time that we have changed by charter the way we did this approval of our final budget. And so I guess we really weren't prepared, certainly, and we didn't get enough people out there to vote. And a lot of citizens I know, and even in my own neighborhood, when I said, you're going to go vote on Thursday, and they looked at me and said, what are you talking about? So unfortunately, people don't read the newspapers, and the Providence Journal is a shadow of its former self. People might read, the patch. They might read and find out that there is something. We certainly sent on our email listservs that there was a vote for the referendum. But as you know, so many of us are so busy we barely read our emails, or we do a really quick, I don't have to read that, I don't have to read that, I don't have to read that. I get that. I'm not blaming the citizenry for being busy, but I do know if we don't, and you don't encourage everyone to go out to vote and support this budget, this community will never recover. It will take us years. And that makes me very sad to say, but I am not using scare tactics. When Mrs. Dixon, a town councilwoman from District 1, after the meeting on, I guess it was Monday night, out in front of the town, Coventry High School, she asked me, what could you accept for a budget? And I said, Ann, we need to be fully funded. The budget we put forward, we all believe in. How can you ask me what I think I can now cut? I can't. It has to be the original budget. I said that to Mr. McGee when he talked to me the night before the meeting on telephone. I told him, there's no way we can. You know as well, we sat down for the first time and shared our budgets and we're transparent. This was a good budget. So my final words is I just plead for everyone to do their civic duty and to encourage everyone out there to do it, because I'm supportive of the town side as well as the school side. I don't want those services on the town side to go either. There are so many people who that depend on childcare in the summer camp program. For that to go away, for some of those wonderful programs to go away, to not be able to hire police officers, it's just more than this community. I can't bear it. I can't bear it, and I've done this for a long time. So I encourage you. I know this is going to be a very, very difficult night. I am going to open up for public discussion. We have a lot to do yet tonight. It's not going to be an easy meeting for any of us, as you probably can imagine. But I do want you to know that this is not a night we wanted to face as a school committee. And certainly this is not something we expected. I think we were all very surprised by the outcome of the vote. That being said, I would ask you, I'm going to be looking at my phone, and I'm pretty laissez-faire about how many minutes someone is at the microphone, but because there's so many people here and there's so many people that I know want to express their opinion or ask a question, I will be timing on my phone. So if you see me go like this, you'll know to try to kind of finish up your thought. My second request, please, if I could have your attention, if you could stop speaking to one another. I would ask you to come to the microphone and identify yourself and your address for the record, and be cognizant of the fact that, you should be trying to stay within the 3-minute deadline. And also, if many people continue to say the same thing, I would encourage you, if you have something new to say, then please continue to stay at the microphone. Otherwise, it will be a very long meeting, which obviously we're all here and we want to hear your voice and your opinion, but it can, I don't know what time it'll be, people will start drifting because people are saying the same thing at the microphone. So I ask you to please be concise in your thoughts and try not to duplicate what someone else has said. That being said, please feel free to come to the front and line up.
I know her. She was here for something. Yeah.
If the public could just could I just have your attention? We have, it looks like a student as the first person to make a comment. So I would really hope that you will show respect to all of the speakers that come forward. And I know it's easy to get distracted and someone's talking, whatever. Please be respectful. And if you need to speak to someone, maybe write it on a piece of paper or just whisper into someone's ear. All out and out talking is very distracting, and it's so disrespectful. So please give the floor to this young person. And again, identify yourself, if you could.
Hello, my name is Ava LaFountain. I am 11 years old, and I'm a 5th grader at Washington Oak Elementary School. And for all the years I've been at the Coventry Public School District, not once has in-depth problems crossed my mind. Recently, a voting session has been put into place about the Coventry School's budget. People who live in Coventry were set up to vote for the continuing of raising money for extracurricular activities and clubs for schools. People thought this was a breeze, but it turned out that only 3% of Coventry voted. Because people didn't vote, the offer was turned down. Now, Coventry schools such as Allen Shawn Feinstein, Washington Oak, Hopkins Hill, Coventry High School, Black Rock, Tyoke, and Western are now in debt. This affects many people because it affects children's learning and teachers getting money to provide for their own family. Because we are in debt, schools are not able to buy books, computers, and new school supplies for incoming classes. This also affects us because we as children need learning materials to succeed in school. Another reason why this affects students and teachers is because extracurricular activities might be canceled. Although there are only 4 weeks of school left in this school year, and most of the activities are ending, this can still affect incoming classes for the middle school. This is not good because activities such as cheer, basketball, art, and so on and so forth make us who we are as people. So if these get shut down, we will not have a chance to do activities that we enjoy doing, which is very sad. This leads me to my next reason why this affects students. If clubs and activities are getting shut down, teachers are losing their jobs, which means they are not getting paid, and if teachers are not getting paid, they cannot provide for their own families. One thing I know is that more than 20 teachers got laid off in the year of 2017 and 18, which is really sad, and I wish this did not happen this year. This is extremely ineffective because if we do not have teachers, one single teacher might end up teaching multiple subjects for which they cannot teach nor feel comfortable teaching. I disagree with the decision that the offer was turned down because school districts should handle these issues all the time. Even if people didn't vote, I strongly believe that the citizens of Coventry do believe that we should still raise money for extracurricular activities. As I said before, these activities show us who we are as people and what we enjoy doing. Because of this mess, the 2019 Step-Up Night was canceled until further notice because the middle school might have to take down some of these extracurricular activities. I know for a fact that if I went to Step-Up Night with my peers and I was told misleading information about activities that I was planning on doing, it would be heartbreaking to me. I think that we as people should vote the offer back in. I believe that we should get a second chance. I know deep in my heart that I do not want to have teachers getting laid off, activities canceled, and I especially do not want the budget to go down. This is intolerable. We as Coventry citizens deserve a second chance on voting. Because some people did not really have a strong understanding of what the voting session was put in for. Now me saying this right here might be funny to you because I'm only 11 years old, but my words mean something to me, and they should mean something to you too. I'm not losing my chance to stand up for the teachers and students around me. Overall, this proves that the in-depth problems need to be addressed because teachers are losing jobs, kids are not getting the learning chances they need, and activities are getting shut down. Thank you.
Thank you for those exceptional words of wisdom from such a young student. Thank you again for your bravery to get up in front of us. So we have another person at our microphone.
Hi. Good evening. My name is Jason Riley, and I'm an 8th grader at Allen Sean Feinstein Middle School. I've been a part of the Coventry Public Schools District for nearly 5 years. As a high honor student and member of the National Junior Honor Society, my education and the education of others is extremely valuable to me. I have ADHD, depression, and anxiety disorder, and I can say without a doubt that being a part of chorus class, select chorus, drama club, and AV club, to name a few, have not only helped me break out of my shell, but have also encouraged me to pursue my artistic passions. In fact, if it weren't for those clubs, I wouldn't be able to deliver this speech tonight. But it's not just about me. This is affecting our amazing teachers as well. By forcing them out of their job they are obviously passionate about and pushing them down from the point they have worked so hard to get to. But another thing that really struck a nerve with me is the fact that I have to see a bunch of adults just tossing around my own future and education like a crumpled up piece of paper. However, I am very grateful for everyone who have been sticking up for the students and teachers. Since I can't vote, I really hope this plays a positive role in everyone's decisions regarding the budget. Thank you for listening.
respond at all? You just said thank him?
Hello. Hi, Allison Dotter, 25 Audubon Lane. I was sitting at home tonight. I was tired from last night, and I heard Craig come up and talk his PowerPoint, and he mentioned hockey. And for anyone who knows me, I'm a hockey mom. My son's going to be a senior next year, and I said, that's it, I have to go. I jumped in the car, and I'm here. So I'm talking without a speech tonight, written. But the thing that I heard last night that was disturbing to me is that there's only 30% of the Coventry families, correct? Isn't that what they said? 30% of the town of Coventry have families with students in the schools. So that left 70%. So that scares me because we all know that they go to the elderly and they bust them in. So that's worrisome to me because it doesn't affect them, whether it's $10 or $20. So I need to challenge everybody in this room. You need to, I don't care if it's Memorial Day weekend, you need to go to your neighbors, you need to go outside your neighborhood, you need to load your cars. If this doesn't pass, we're done. We don't have another shot. We're at zero. We're not going to recover. We all can't sit here and just say, oh yeah, it's going to pass because there were people last night and there were 500 people watching. This is ours. You need to talk to the elderly. I'm challenging you as high school teachers to get, I know the seniors last day, but when they come in for exams and those that are 18, get them to the polls. Just like we do with the blood banks. We get them to the blood banks. We need to put out a mass email. If we still have students' addresses.
Excuse me, Allison,
Yeah.
we can't use the students.
You can't tell them?
we can't.
We can't say, like, you
No.
need to vote? Okay, then I challenge everybody in this room. I know that the seniors that graduated and that are home from college, if I have to drive them, I will. We need to, you're laughing, but we need to do it. You know, the other thing here is I feel terrible. There are people in front of me that have my children. I have 3 children. Their jobs, I'm worried about them. We all know that we have to put teachers in front of kids, but at the bottom line, it's at what cost? So whether you're, whatever you have to do, I live in a neighborhood, there are 40 homes. My goal this weekend between my children and I is to knock on those doors. If I have to go to the neighborhood next to me, I will. If I have to go to Kathy's neighborhood, which is a little bit down, I will. We have to do that. We are not the numbers right now. Coventry has a lot of elderly and people that don't have kids in the schools. We need to get our voices out there. We're all here. I assume everybody in this room is going to vote, but this room also should be packed, and it should be standing room only. And when I came tonight, I thought we were going to be in the gym, like when we have those mass meetings, and we're not. So that message has to get across. It's the second night we're doing this. I'm tired too. I work just like you do. But you have to go out there. You have to knock on doors. You cannot sit. There is no guarantee that this is going to pass.
Whoop, 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 go back a bit.
Nick, a little bit.
Right
Step
here.
back.
Whole bunch of
Step
people
back.
giving me directions.
Right here. The microphone's right here.
I just want to get it up a little bit if I can. Okay, that's good enough. Nick Zamorelli, 11 Wesleyan Avenue. And mine is one of the names that's going to be called this evening as a laid-off teacher. $506 a month. That was my income, thanks to SSI, before Coventry School District. The Coventry School District hired me almost 20 years ago. And for those of you who have heard this story, I apologize. It's a rerun, but it's the season for reruns on TV and stuff. When I graduated from URI in 1997, I had the highest grade point average in the music department that year for undergrads, and honestly, I thought people would be coming for me. They are tonight, but for a different reason. And I didn't, I got one job offer besides this one. And a dear, dear friend of mine said to me, Nick, if you don't get hired here, you won't get hired anywhere. And she was right. And thank God I got hired here. Somebody asked a question, Mr. Murray asked how many people went to school with him. And I heard so many people stand up, because you can hear it, because every time somebody stands, all the seats go up. And it's remarkable how many teachers were once consumers of the product that we try to offer students every day, the product of education and wisdom and compassion and love. It's an honor. It's an honor. And so I went from $506 a month in SSI payments to being able to own my own home right here in town. My mortgage is too high, but I own my own home. I want to tell you something. I never, ever, there were dreams I had when I was a kid, like all kids, right? I never dreamed of owning a home. Never. I thought it was just literally above my pay grade, and that it always would be. My last 3 years of high school were spent here in Coventry. Those years gave me the foundation for what I'm doing today, and the Coventry School District, and yes, the town of Coventry, continues to allow me to recognize and realize a dream. I'm profoundly grateful. I want you to understand that your actions later on this evening have potentially a profound impact, not on hundreds, but on thousands of people. Be mindful of the task at hand and be thoughtful in your deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Hi, Kelly Aronakis, 9 Sugar Maple Drive. Time to turn this around. We've worked really hard. There's a lot of teachers in this room, there's a lot of police officers in this room, a lot of parents, and a lot of students. I am not worried. We know what our task is for the next 4 weeks. We've talked about it, we've met, we're 700 strong as teachers, we've had meetings, you're all here tonight. We know we're door knocking, we know we're canvassing, we know it's time for us to win and outdraw the end. So kids, the fact that you're here tonight, we still have your back. Parents here tonight, thank you for still having our back. So we're going to end the night on a real negative note. Whatever. We're going to stand up, we're going to hear our names read, we're going to stand proud, we're going to leave this auditorium, we're going to do what we have to do, and we're going to take this town down and say, we're not going down without a fight. We are winning this, and just remember that when we leave here. Every year, this weekend, next weekend, and the following weekend, win the vote.
Hello, my name is Logan Studley, and as many of you know me as Studley. If you can't see, I am wearing a varsity Letterman jacket. On the back of this jacket is the Coventry football. I am very proud of this football. And first off, I would like to say, if it wasn't for football, I wouldn't be here as a student. If it wasn't for football, my grades wouldn't be the way they were. Football gave me the expectations that I should have had when I was a lot younger, the expectations somebody in my life did not give me. I see my coaches, and I can see one of them here today now, who always pushed me to the best, I'm a little nervous. He always pushed me to do better, no matter how bad or good I was doing during practice or even during a game. I remember one time during practice, he actually kicked me off the starting play because I was doing so bad. And just because of that, that got me into gear saying, I need to turn this around and do better for myself. Secondly, I'm also in the JROTC program at the Coventry High School. If it wasn't for the Coventry High School ROTC program, I also wouldn't be here today. This has kept my grades up because it motivates me. It keeps me going. This is one of the many things I am very proud of, along with football. If you don't mind, Coach Anthony Carpinello, can you please stand up? That person right there has kept me motivated for the last 5 years. He is one of the very few people who kept me in football. Another person, and you may know his wife, is Miss McCarthy and Coach McCarthy. I see Coach McCarthy as a father because, well, mine wasn't really around. Coach McCarthy is the person I've always gone to if I needed help. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in football and I wouldn't have the grades that I have now. Coach McCarthy, when I wanted to quit my first year of football in 3rd grade, he's the one who kept me in. He's the one who kept pushing me, saying I can do it and he will work with me. After practice, before practice, whatever it took, he would keep working with me. And I would just like to point him out too. He is an amazing role model, and so is his wife. Lastly, I would like to ask you all to make the right decision for your future and our future. If it wasn't for my ROTC experience and the football experience, I would say for many students, for me, the grades. They're very important to our college lives, our futures, and if it wasn't for these programs, I don't think we'd be that successful. Thank you.
We all good? Okay. All right. Is this good? That's good? Okay. All right. So my name's Caligari. I'm 16, and I'm a junior here. And I know that many teachers and my classmates here know me as this big goofball that doesn't take anything seriously, really. But I can assure you that I take this as serious as everyone else here. And another thing is, I'm not going to stand up here and act like I know everything about this, because I don't. I just know what I heard, and I know what they've said. But what really got me into this was hearing about, number one, the athletics, and number two, the teachers, because I've been a varsity sport athlete all 3 years, and I'm hoping to make it 4 years. And sports have been the biggest part of my life for God knows how long. And I mean, personally, I have like
like colleges and stuff like that, like looking for me to do stuff like for that. And it would like, it's something I'm very proud of. Like, I feel like anyone would be proud of that. And like, the thought of like having to lose that, I mean, it hurts a lot. Because I worked hard for that, and I know that there's many other students here that work hard for that too. And for the teachers, I mean, I take it more personally because both my parents are teachers, and I see what they do every day for their kids. And not only are they like amazing parents, but when I go and I visit them in school or I see what they do as teachers and the impact that they make on their students, I mean, it reminds me of the teachers here at our school. There are so many teachers that I can name that I look up to in so many ways, and they're always here for me. They're a little lenient on me and my behavior in class and stuff like that, but I mean, I love them, and they understand that I need a little less on that kind of stuff. And I understand that all things come with money. I mean, that's a given. And I understand that it is just $20 a month, but like that just $20 a month could be a lot more to like some people than there are others. I mean, I know that my family's fortunate enough to be able to like afford that, but not everyone in Coventry would be able to afford that. And another thing is the career and tech programs, like they were listing up there. Another one is criminal justice. My teacher, Mr. Reed. I've wanted to become a police officer for at least like 5 years now, and I remember we weren't allowed to come in at freshman year, but my sophomore year when I applied for the criminal justice program and I got the letter back saying that I was accepted, I was so excited because it was something that would prepare me for my future and what I wanted to do. And the program has been nothing but like amazing to me, and it's taught me things that I'm going to take on for my entire life. We go on these field trips, we do these experiments, we do these projects that are gonna teach me things, and I'm gonna use those in my future. Like, there's no doubt about that. And like cutting that and other things like health careers, the culinary, like all that, all these students they're gonna take this places with their life. They're gonna do things with that. And I just feel like if we're taking that away from the students, then we're really taking away from their future. And I feel like every student like deserves that opportunity and they deserve that chance, and I just really hope that we can do this, guys.
Good exercise, John.
I'm Mackenzie Boning. I'm a junior here at the high school.
Losing people.
Every day when coming into school, it's the teachers that make us feel welcome. As coming into Coventry Public Schools my freshman year, I was afraid of this new chapter in my life. It was because of teachers who made such a positive impact on my life and helped to shape the person as I am. Such teachers as Mrs. Lauren Hopkins, Mass Chief Edward Kay, and Miss Julie Pankowitz have not only helped me, but they've helped thousands of students who have come through the school. As the first female commander of the NJROTC here at the high school, it's so hard for me to think that the program I have helped to build may not be here my senior year. I can't imagine my day without going in class and knowing that because of this program, I will soon make a difference in the world. This program, despite its size, makes huge differences within our community. From all the community service hours that our unit completes, it helps make our community a better place. If it wasn't for this unit, I wouldn't have the goals I have today. I wouldn't be the person who is motivated to come in every day and be willing to learn. These teachers are the reason why I come into school and give it my all day in and day out. Please make the right decision and help to keep our school system the way us students like it. Thank you.
We're losing people.
Hello, my name is Bethany Noonan. I am a junior here at Coventry High. I mostly want to just talk about the teachers because, I mean, they have such a big impact on us. And personally, I have like really bad anxiety, and I have few teachers that I turn to, like Mr. Paiva, my best friend. Mr. Pingley, Mr. Larguino over there. They just have such a huge impact on us, and I know a lot of kids that don't really have anybody to turn to, so they go to their teachers. They're really important, and we really don't appreciate how much they do for us and the time they put into what they do every day. But yeah, they don't really feel like teachers to me. Some of them feel like more friends and family. Like, I have a few family members in the system, Miss Jackie Costa. But yeah, you really have to vote. It's so important. We got to get those votes up. Yeah! Thank you!
Hi, my name is Karen Menezes. I have a daughter going into her senior year. I have 2 daughters who have already graduated, and they will be coming back to vote. But there's one thing I want to point out. You know, the naysayers make the most noise, and unfortunately, those of us who are going along and happy and doing the things we want to do, we did. We got compliant. And the people that are negative are the loudest. Just look at social media. So the message that's being put out there and being read is feeding into that negativity. And even those negative people would sit here and say, oh, look they're parading the students to make us feel bad. As if it was, these aren't their real feelings. That's not how they're really impacted. And they are. And whether it's a Mr. Costa or Mrs. McCarthy or Mr. Pingley or a Mr. Kelly or, whoever it is, these teachers make impacts on our children's lives. And whether it's one teacher who makes an impact on one student, a different teacher will make a different impact on another student. And every one of those teachers is important. They all play a role in our community. And I think we have to understand that we have to push down the negative, quiet the negative, because they're so loud right now. They've taken over, and we have to remember moments like this to remember what we're fighting for and to stay positive, keep positive, and spread that message in this town.
Hi, I'm her daughter that's going into my senior year. Hi, my name is Margaret Britsky. I'm 17 years old. I will be going into my senior year, as my mom just said. I wanted to get up here and speak. I didn't think I was going to, so sorry if I stutter. I didn't think I was going to speak tonight because, I don't know, I just wasn't planning on it. But I decided that I needed to stand up because this school system has been such a huge part of my life. I've been in the school system since I was 5 years old at Black Rock Elementary School when I entered kindergarten. And this school system has been such a big part of my life. I have cried multiple times because I can't stand to watch it break. I've been involved in basically every aspect of this school system. I started in our chorus program in 2nd grade with Mr. Zamorelli at Black Rock Elementary School. And I've continued up until now. I'm currently in our select choir here at the high school. That program with our music teachers has been such a huge part of my life. I literally have said multiple times to our chorus teacher, Miss Saint, that I don't know what I would have done without her. She's been my teacher since 6th grade because my 8th grade year, she moved up to the high school with us when we moved up. So I can't stand to, I've always had this notion, I'm gonna be with her now until I graduate. Like, she'll be my second mom until I graduate. And now the thought of that program being cut destroys me. It's really, sometimes that's the reason I come to school, because I'm so stressed out about everything else going on in my life, but this one class truly just makes me forget all those things and makes me feel better. I'm also a part of our high school's cheerleading team with Miss Roberts. That team has brought together so many people in the school. We've done so much for other programs in our school. It just, the idea of not having those things anymore, it just sickens me that our school might not have the extracurricular activities that are the reason that some kids get out of bed in the morning. Lastly, I just wanted to touch on the fact that when I was in 4th into 5th grade, I was diagnosed with a learning disability. I have a visual cognitive disorder, which makes it extremely difficult for me to read, do my work in a timely manner, and understand what is in front of me. Because of the teachers in this school system, I am now excelling in my classes. In elementary school, I was failing in my classes. Because of the teachers in the school system, I'm now enrolled in 3 AP classes for my senior year. I'm on track to go to be a poli-sci major at the University of Rhode Island. I like to tell this quick story a lot. In 4th grade, I was talking to my mom about how, Mom, like, I can't spell anything. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, I can't write on the board in class or I will cry. She was like, it can't be that bad, it can't be that bad. I was like, Mom, give me a simple word right now to spell, and I'll try to spell it. She asked me to spell the word truck, like a truck. And I was a 4th grader who could not spell the word truck. My teacher brought it to my mom's attention that, listen, I think Meg has something going on. I was able to be tested, and they were able to diagnose a learning disability, and I was able to have a learning plan that was fit to my personal way of learning since then, all the way through up until now in high school. I'm going into AP English next year, and in 4th grade I couldn't spell the word truck. That's what this school system is. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Joshua Bricker. I am a junior here at Coventry High School. And really, I'm just going to keep this short and simple. I'm not up here to talk about the budget. I'm here to say thank you to all my teachers that I've had in my past 3 years. When I was 10 years old, I lost my mom to a drug overdose. Her name is right here on my arm. I keep it here all the time. And I think without all of these teachers, I don't know where I'd be without Miss Allard, one of my favorite teachers I've ever had. I know I have her to talk to every day. Mr. Savickas, Mr. Bush, the baseball coach, I know he's there to push me every day when I am. Sadly, I can't this year because of an injury. But I just want to say thank you to all my teachers who have been there for me.
Linda Ballamere, 73 Niblick Circle. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everybody who came out tonight. And I'd also like to thank all the unsung heroes of the school support staff. Thank you. I don't know how you do it every day. I know I have a pretty tough job, but I don't know how teacher assistants, they have the most patience I've ever seen anyone have in the entire world with students. Custodians, electricians, our mechanics, the people that cut the grass, our payroll clerks, our secretaries. We keep things rolling. I really am disappointed in all of the naysayers as well, because in their hour of need, they turn to us, and we have never turned our backs on them. Never. I encourage all of you to get out and tell your neighbors exactly what you do here in the school department, because they really are uneducated when it comes to that. Not all of them, but for the most part, most of them. So please get out there, sing your song, let them know what you do, let them know what you do for their children every single day, the children that you spend more time with than they do. Let them know. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Devlin Andrews. I'm a senior here. My last day was actually yesterday. Anyway. You know what though? I'm still kind enough to be here right now. I still have siblings in the district. I still have friends that teach here. I still have friends that are a part of all of this. And I just want to say that my experience here in Coventry Public Schools has taught me how to be self-sufficient. Just as a senior in high school, I've gone on to start a business. I know how to care for myself now. I do want to keep this short and sweet, but I just want to say the biggest thing that we talked about tonight is civic duty. We learned about our civic duty in this high school. So whether we have the right to say yes, we have the right to say no, but I just want to let this speak volumes that we learn about civic duty in here because of all of you. So thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Martin and I'm a senior at Coventry High School. Even though I'm no longer a student in Coventry schools, I have been here since I was in kindergarten at Black Rock Elementary School. Through those years I've been taught by some amazing people. Not only did they carry out their duties as a teacher, they also formed personal connections with every student, including me. And those personal connections not only allowed me to perform as a successful student, but also inspired me to put effort into what I needed to do. As I got older and realized how hard these people work day in and day out, I created such an immense respect for each and every one. This goes along with coaches that are teachers here in front of you. Coach Adam Knight and Mark Satila coached me through the 4 years I played on the golf team. I've gained so much appreciation for them, as I not only watched my game grow, they saw the person I became while being in this high school. Because of Coventry Schools, I found out who I was and the person I'm going to become. It also allowed me to discover what I want to do with the rest of my life, which is to pursue a career in the medical field. I ask the voters, as I am only 17 and not able to vote, to please change the result, because there are so many more talented kids coming into Coventry Schools that need the attention I got during my time here.
Hi, my name is Paige Thayer, and I graduated from Coventry High School in 2018. I now attend the University of New Haven for criminal justice. It wasn't any glorified TV show or movies that made me want to pursue this major, but it was JMac in sociology and Mr. Brew in forensics. It was Mr. Macaron who told me to pursue my dreams despite anyone telling me I was too small to be a CJ major. I went to a regional conference for the Criminal Justice Club for my university and won first place in the mock crime scene investigation as a freshman. I didn't win this due to my gen ed classes my first semester at college, but I won this due to Mr. Brew teaching me germ forensics. I lost a friend of mine in high school, and it was Mrs. Zenian who talked me through it and checked in on me to make sure I was okay. It was Mr. Cook and Leonard who kept me calm through many stressful e-board tasks. The teachers at this school keep the students coming every day and motivated to do their best. I have a twin brother who played hockey in the high school and was so passionate about his experience here that he is now attending Trine University in Indiana to pursue hockey. For both my brother and I, high school didn't end the day we graduated, but instead we took our passions that we learned from high school experiences into the rest of our lives.
Before I start, I want Mr. Reed to stand up. Chef Calbeck, Chef Marcella, and Miss Andrews, please. So my name is Alyssa Stalaboyne, and I'm a current Rhode Island Honor Society senior at Coventry High School, graduating in 2 weeks. I would just like to put out there that I'm going to college next year with a big scholarship because of my teachers and clubs at my school. Without Mr. Reed, I would not be the person I am today. He stepped up on a big plate to be the new Skills USA advisor after our old one left because of the budget issues we have in the school department. For those of you who do not know what Skills USA is, it's a nonprofit leadership organization that most high school students should have. Without the Skills USA program and the Career and Tech program at my school, I would not be able to stand up here and speak. I am no longer in the shell that I was in when I attended middle school. My culinary program that I've been involved in all 4 years of my high school career has changed me for the better. Our final project and certification for the culinary program is called the NOCTI. I told myself over and over again that I will not be able to pass or even show up for the test. And I just want to say sorry, Chef, and sorry, Ms. Andrews, for annoying you with that. After doing the exam and getting the scores, I was able to pass with an 89 and third highest grade in the class because my teachers told me that I could. Without my teachers in this program, I will not be the person I am today. Without my teachers, I would not be able to get into the college that I've always wanted to get into. Without my teachers, I would probably be failing all of my classes. But because of them, I am a Rhode Island Honor Society member and a Skills USA state officer. Can we please make a change?
Hello there, good evening. Give me one moment, I'm gonna just, yeah, that's not working. All right, I'll lay them down. Devlin earlier talked about civic duty, and there was another woman earlier who talked about compliance. I don't remember your name, I apologize, I'm terrible with them. On Thursday when the vote happened, I was brought to a voting center. I did not know ahead of time. My wonderful mother, Mrs. Saran, she informed me, told me, go get your license, come on, we're gonna go vote. I was mildly ashamed of myself that I didn't know that this vote was happening. I don't think I was the only one, as only 700 people voted. I did not know the consequences of this. I was informed that teachers would lose their jobs if I didn't make the vote for the budget. And I would like to, from this point going on forward, express my hope that everyone will perform their civic duty and stay informed about these events. I have a lot of teachers here that I got to say thank you to yesterday because I am a senior at high school, and yesterday was my last day. Mrs. Caparelli, Mr. Pingley, Ms. McCardle, Madame Texera. I don't know if you're here in the crowd today because I'm not wearing my glasses. I also see a lot of faces from the past, Ms. Conklin, Ms. Printer, Ms. Petros. Again, not wearing my glasses. I'm sure there are more of you. I'd like to say thank you for all that you've done for me, and I hope the vote goes our way on Tuesday. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tara Dolly. I graduated from Coventry in 2017. That was 2 years ago. I'm very nervous, but I'm here. I didn't prepare anything because I didn't know if I was going to speak today. But I was sitting in back there and looking around at all the teachers who have had me or coaches that I see in the crowd. And I don't know about anybody else, but I still am furious that we're in this situation. I have a brother that's a junior here, so even though I don't go to school here anymore, my family's still in the system, and I have a nephew coming soon after.
And I've looked back on the past 2 years, and people ask me where I'm from. I'm proud to say it's from Coventry, Rhode Island. I went to school out of state, and I come back here this week to hear that my teachers, people who kept me in high school, people who motivated me to become the person I am, are being laid off. And it makes me emotional. I want to say, please get your children coming home from college, please get your neighbor, please get your sister, your brother, anyone that lives in Coventry, get them here to vote for these teachers. Without them, I wouldn't be at a top 20 university in the country. I wouldn't be a pre-med student. I wouldn't be standing here shaking in front of all of you. I really wouldn't. To be honest with you, I don't know if I would have made it through high school without some teachers, and they know who they are. They're sitting in the audience today. So, thank you. Thanks. Thank you. I want to encourage all of you, raise your hand if you're on Facebook. You can post things on Facebook. Post to vote. Get the word out there. I came home, didn't know that this vote was happening. I'm 19 years old. I'm old enough to vote, and I didn't know that it was happening, and I'm ashamed of that. But if the word is out there, if you put it online, if you put it where the young voters are going to see it, they will come out and support you. There are others like me that aren't here tonight, that my friends that texted me that said, I wish I could go, I can't, I have work. I wish I could go, I can't do this. They will come out to support. They love the teachers here. I do too. They'll be here. Thank you. Please go vote.
Scott's coming, yeah. I think we still have a couple more. Yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
Hi, folks. My name is Scott Guthrie. I live at 31 Maplewood Drive. You probably remember me as Representative Scott Guthrie, one of the 15 people that voted to keep your pension and not cut it when Gina Raimondo wanted to play her games with it. So. And that vote was going to go anyways, regardless of the political consequences, because that's your sole pension. You're not in Social Security. There are other cities and towns that are. Pardon the voice, I just got out of the hospital yesterday, so I'm still kind of recovering a little bit. I just wanted to address a couple of things. I wanted to go to last night's meeting, but I got home late in the afternoon, but I listened to a couple of things, and one of the guys that gets up and is often outspoken, a lot of times against you, is John Asselone. And he got in front of the council and he said, I want to know who sponsored that charter change. And the charter change was getting rid of the financial town meeting, something that's been in this town for a long time. I sat on, I think, two charter commissions, and Mr. Gorin was on both of them that I sat on. And both times he wanted to eliminate the financial town meeting, and it was voted down by everybody on the committee. So this time, they did it without a charter commission, which I consider illegal. And I was going to contact the Attorney General and ask him if it was actually legal for them to go and vote council only to change a charter on a whim. And I'm kind of mad at myself for not doing it, because you probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. You probably would be at a financial town meeting for this year. I heard another woman speak about the tax freeze and how it affects, older people, and it kind of like puts the older people against the younger people. And we don't need any wars. We don't need civil war in this town. What we need is communication. The charter change was, guess what? It was a voter suppression move done by people that want to keep the vote down. Kind of worked. And it was a communication killer. So now we're here and there's no communication and nobody knew that there was a vote. I came out and voted. I will be at the next vote. And there are 3 more votes in my house and they will be there too. One other thing I wanted to say is my youngest daughter, Saywood, I'm sure some of you that had her in her class, she's a little bit of a character. She took on, is it a capstone project that the schools do, that put on for the kids? Well, my daughter took up being a funeral director. Last year, she graduated with a bachelor's in funeral science. And And on any day of the week, she calls me up and she goes, "Dad, nobody died today." So she'll be she's at like 6 different funeral homes, and she's doing these embalmings all the time, and she's running these funerals. And she texted me the other day. She says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just working around the yard." She goes, "I got an embalming. You want to come?" I said, "Well, not today. Maybe another day." I wasn't ready for it then. And what was the other one? She sent me a text the other day with a picture of a mariachi band. I guess a gentleman up in Providence passed away, and he was very well known. It was an ethnic type thing, and he had a market, and he was so well known in the community that they had a mariachi band playing. They had horses that took them to Swan Point Cemetery, and they all sat there and partied and drank beer around the grave. And she said it was the longest funeral that she had, so far. But in closing, I think that I'll make a couple of suggestions. One other thing I wanted to say. A lot of people don't know that it's not the town that runs the schools, it's the state that runs the schools. The Constitution of Rhode Island empowers the General Assembly to provide education to all the students in Rhode Island. And we used to kind of like share that with the state, 50-50, 55-45. And then it started, they just wanted to pay less to make us pay a little bit more. It should be a 50-50 thing, I think. State aid is one of the biggest things. This town is growing. When I was a kid here, by the way, I should have told you, kids, that I graduated in 1975. I thought that was a requirement when you speak. But I might have just lost my train of thought on that. Yeah, state aid. The state doesn't have a property tax to fund education, but they'd like to, and it probably wouldn't pass. But what I would think is local communities like ours, and when I was there in the General Assembly, I looked into funding education through the income tax. That way you're not going to hit on the seniors who are on a fixed income. It's your ability to pay. I can pay. I'm on a fixed income. I can pay. People that make a little bit more, pay a little bit more. You can afford a little more than someone that can't. If someone's getting a $1,200 a month Social Security, their taxes go up, they got to cut. Simply like what you're doing right now. And that shouldn't be. It should be us as a collective. And maybe if we approached our General Assembly members and said, "Listen, why don't we try to do something like this? If the state can do it, why can't they give us that taxing authority? Give this school committee that taxing authority." They do it in the Midwest, like in Ohio. It's just the right way to do it. Education is the biggest part of any budget anywhere, in any state in this country. And the property tax is the most regressive thing that's been on this earth. It works for municipal services, but for the heavy cost and the most expensive thing in the budget, it should be on your ability to pay. Hopefully we can get something going on that. And I don't know if I have anything else to say, but thank you. Thank you. We have 4 votes on the main house and 2 votes from the people across the street. That's a guarantee.
Good evening. Brian Laughlin, I live 2 Fieldstone Drive. Fortunately, one of Kathy's neighbors. You know, listening tonight, I didn't grow up here. I grew up in another country, actually. I grew up in Canada. Both my parents, my father's a college professor. My mother worked in the school. My wife is a principal in another school district. What I think you need to remember, and Alice and daughter brought it up, 30% versus 70%. How many of those 70% are going to be having children anytime soon? Probably not, right? They're older. What value does the school have to them? What value do you as teachers have to them? So when you talk to those people, it's not necessarily about the students. It is to us because we still have students. But the value to them is different. It's like any sales job. You need to understand your audience. And what's the value to somebody that's 65 and retiring? The biggest value to them is where they're living and what the value of their home is or what the value of their business is. If a school, such as the high school or any of the other schools, happen to lose their accreditation, what happens to the value of their home? It drops through the floor. Why? How many people today that were looking a week ago in Coventry that you don't even know are no longer looking to buy a home here because they heard on the news that we have a problem with our school system and the school system is potentially going to lose its ability to teach our students? I said it last night and I'll say it again today. Some of you know my kids. I saw Coach Branchard somewhere. He coached my oldest son for many, many years, who's graduated. My younger son, who's a junior, said to me today, or yesterday, I need to be sure that my graduation means something, that my diploma has value. It doesn't have value if they can't go to college. It doesn't have value if they cannot move to the next step or figure out what they want in life. So as you talk to these people, make sure you understand what the value to them is, not the value to us, because that's irrelevant. It's the value to the person you're talking to. And that'll change depending on who you're speaking to at that time. That's really all I had to say, is just remember your audience when you speak to your audience.
Do I just go?
Oh,
Hi, everybody. My name is Morgan Carr. I am a senior at Coventry High School. It's actually my first day of summer vacation, but it didn't feel right coming here because there was just a pit in my chest. I've had a pit in my chest for days, knowing this, and it wouldn't feel like I could kick my feet back and start relaxing until I had to, let my voice be heard a little bit. So, it's very fitting that I get to talk in this environment, actually, because I've been a part of drama club at Coventry High School for 4 years. This stage is my home. It's the place where I learn to be myself. It's the place where I learn to interact with others and grow. And I've actually been writing a poem to read at the annual drama cookout at the end of the year. And this poem I've been working on for a while. It's not exactly finished, but I figured I'd share it with you all just to let you know how I'm feeling. Coventry drama is a sanctuary at the times when high school gets scary. Stick with me here because I'm about to get sappy, but this club just makes me so, so happy. Through the years, I have unfortunately seen this club divided, except this year it was different. We were all united. It felt like we were standing on the top of the tallest building, and I truly knew what it was like to be living. Somebody please tell me how to say goodbye to the place where I learned to spread my wings and fly. It almost feels like I'm at a dead end, but when I look up, I see all my friends. Through all the set days and hell weeks, I would look over my shoulder and see all of you freaks. Probably in some awkward cuddle pile, and I would tell you to cut it out and try not to smile. Most of the time I would give in because not joining a cuddle pile is kind of a sin. We would scurry out of the pile and try not to riot each time Amanda would shout, "Guys, be quiet!" Although I'm making it seem like all fun and games, our acting does not put the stage floor to shame. Blood, sweat, and tears go into each production, and we assure you the audience will be sucked in. Of course, high school students can't do this on their own. There has to be someone who has helped and watched them grow. The man who sits at the trapezoid table. Without you, I don't know how I or we would be stable. I have never met a man so smart and more capable of creating incredible art. You have taught me all that I know. Without you, my acting would have no flow. You have taught me that it is not about the audience size, but making you proud is the real prize. You have taught me that acting is reacting and the importance of interacting. You have taught me to pass the ball because greed is easily an actor's downfall. You have always been there if I needed to talk, and if you needed something, I'd be glad to take the walk. The lessons you have taught me will never fade away. It will be so hard not to come back and visit you every single day. But that's what I shouldn't do, right? It's time to do what you taught me and take flight. This club will always hold a special place in my heart, but I have some things to say before I part. This club is your palace, and do not ever allow yourself to become malice. Soak in the applause as you reign. Allow the legacy of this club to course through your veins. Look deeper into that scratched wooden floor and imagine a door. Eventually, that door will open up beneath you, and to your heart, you will have to be true. And that's all I have written so far. I love you. But I just wanted to say thank you to all of my teachers. I see some of you. I see Mrs. Hopkins, Mrs. Boyle, Mrs. Young back there, my favorite gym teacher, Mrs. Spaziano, just all of you, all of you. Thank you. Shoot, I don't know what I'm going to say.
Hi, my name is Elena Furtado. Like Morgan, I've been a part of Drama Club for 4 years here at Coventry High School. And this club has taught me how to grow, not as an actor, but as a friend and as a mentor. It taught me how to multitask when I thought I couldn't. It gave me hope when there was no hope to be given. Mr. Wilkinson has taught us how to soar through the sky without even knowing, without even telling us what to do. We grow as actors and we grow as people. And even here, I see some of my teachers like Mr. Rockwell, Senora Simus, Senora Rocha, and they taught me how to be a better person in life. They didn't care if I was this bad kid in the back of class or I was this shy kid who didn't want to speak up. They let me grow out of my shell and become a better person. I'm gonna cry. I've never spoken in front of this big of an audience, and it's very overwhelming. But I want to say, please get out there and vote. And all the kids who are here, I'm so proud of you because you didn't have to be here, and you're here right now. And thank you to all the educators. Thank you so much.
How does this go up? I just wanted to talk about how nice the people, the teachers are here. I haven't met one mean teacher in my life, and every morning, and every morning, administration, they greet you with hello, good morning, and even on my worst days, it's really nice to have someone say hello to you, and all my teachers are the friendliest people, Miss Saint, Mr. Rockwell, Miss Young, and Miss Sweeney. I love you, Miss Sweeney. Just such good teachers, and I couldn't see them going anytime soon.
carries three. Okay. Thank you for all those wonderful comments. I'd like to move on to personnel, our agenda item number 4, layoffs. For the certified layoff, I would like to make a motion to affirm the recommendation of the superintendent that Diane Hunter be laid off at the conclusion of the 2018-19 school year, to be confirmed due to factors identified with her reference letter, which include but are not limited to enrollment reductions, teachers returning from leaves of absence or returning from job share, possible loss of grant funds, fiscal constraints, and program changes. Is there a second on that motion?
Madam Chair, I must recuse myself from this agenda item because the motion involves a family member.
Thank you. Is there a second on that motion?
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Kathy Patno?
Yes.
Dave Florio?
No.
Luke Murray?
Yes.
Donna Colunian?
Yes. Yes.
Motion carries 3-0 with a abstention. Moving on to, I move that to affirm the recommendation of the superintendent that Pamela Murray be laid off at the conclusion of the 2018-19 school year, be confirmed due to factors identified in individual reference letters, which include but are not limited to enrollment reductions, teachers returning from leaves of absence or returning from job share, possible loss of grant funds, fiscal constraints, and program changes.
Madam Chair, I need to recuse myself. I have a family member. Pam Murray is a family member.
Thank you. Is there a second on that motion?
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Kathy Patno?
Yes.
Dave Florio?
No.
Donna Colunian?
Yes.
James Pearson?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 3-0 with one abstention. Moving on, I move to affirm the recommendation of the superintendent that Jason Murray be laid off at the conclusion of the 2018-19 school year, to be confirmed due to factors identified in individual reference letters, which include but are not limited to possible reductions, teachers returning from leaves of absence or returning from job share, possible loss of grant funds, fiscal constraints, and program changes.
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Kathy Patno?
Yes.
David Florio?
No.
Donna Colunian?
Yes.
James Pearson?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0 with one abstention. Moving on to further certified layoffs. I move that the following people be, that we affirm the recommendation of the superintendent to lay off at the conclusion of the 2018-19 school year, to be confirmed due to factors identified in individual reference letters, which include but are not limited to enrollment reductions, teachers returning from leaves of absence or returning from job share, possible loss of grant funds, fiscal restraints, and program changes. The following individuals: Kristen Aboud, Deborah E. Adesi, Tao A.J. Albrecht, Stephanie Allard, Jennifer L. Almeida, Stephanie J. Anderson-Tonet, Wendy Arnone, Jennifer E. S.A., Kelly A. Bacon, Allison L. Baker, Cynthia Ballard, Kara M. Banspach, Caitlin M. Babera, Carrie B. Barris, Ann C. Barter, Jonathan D. Bartlett, Jennifer Bocheman, Donna M. Bowden, Heather J. Becker, Jamie T. Benz, Margaret Bernardi, Wendy Betez, Melissa Bebo, Shelley M. Begelli, Tonya Bellotti, Joseph T. Bishop, Jessica A. Blanchett, Pamela A. Blanco, Mark Blevins, Samuel Timoth Booker, Leigh S. Borelli, Anna A. Bollinger, Maria C. Belemis, sorry, Christina Bosque, Julia A. Boyle, Deona Boynton, Elizabeth Branch, Jacques A. Branchard, Tiffany L. Brainer, William III. Brew, Katie Briggs, Matthew T. Brissett, Emily Brown, Kerry A. Bruno, Michael D. Bucacci, Nicole Bruta, Zachary R. Burgess, Eileen M. Burke, Melena S. Burton, Leo T. Bush III, Cara Capaldo, Celeste Capizzo, Julie R. Capobianco, Christian A. Capwell, Jessica Card, Mary Ellen Carlu, Margaret E. Carroll, Bethany J. Caruso, Jacqueline Celeste, Day Citrone, Ellie B. Clements, Rebecca Cleveland, Kevin Cleveland, Lisa M. Clift, Sandra L. Clunan, Michelle M. Cohen, John J. Cohen, Linda A. Cohen, Jennifer Coyne, Elizabeth M. Colley, Victor A. Colomb, Christine E. Conklin, Michelle T. Cook, Tara Carrera, Donna Costa, Jacqueline A. Costa, Anthony A. Costa, Jr., Jamie M. Cotnoy, sorry.
Cotnoy.
Deanna L. Catoya, Erin R. Coyne, Amy B. Cronin, Roseanne Cabellas Pina, Emily A. Cunningham Jost, Elena P. Kurt, Brenda E. Dadakian, Gina DeGuano, Christopher J. Dagno, Tara J. Delano, Laura Daly, Jessica B. Degnan, Lisa Del Bove, Kathleen Delaney, Kathleen S. DeLuca, Catherine L. DiNardo, Diana DeRubio, Roger L. DeSaulniers, Kristen Deschane, Maria Donetto, Jennifer S. Donnelly Taylor, Michaela L. Driscoll, Teresa A. Drum, Sharon A. Eagleson, Jessica C. Easton, Cheryl Eckert, Teresa Elstrom, Kelly A. Aronakis, Kimberly Estrella, Shayna K. Factor, Gail Farrell, John Ferreira, Anthony Farrow, Emily Ford, Cindy Ford, Christoph Foreman, Richard Friggin, Michelle R. Gallagher, Morgan L. Garcia, Amy M. Garland, Michelle J. Gauthier, Andrew J. Gervasini, Thomas P. Gibb, Bethany Giblin, Kendra Gionis, Brian L. Golis, Jason C. Gomes, Joanne Gorman Gonzalez, Erin A. Gorter, Linda Grandchamp, Casey L. Grant, Nicole K. Grant, Janet Greenwood, Karen A. Gilmet, Susan E. Hackett, Michelle Hammer, Jennifer Lynn Hayes, Rebecca Haynes, Michelle Hicks, Christian M. Hill, Derek W. Height, Brian Hodge, Lauren Hopkins, Renee P. Horant, Erica L. Horborgen, Jennifer L. Houghton, Rachel Houlihan, Justin J. Howman, Courtney Hughes, Jacqueline H. Igham, Donald G. Jake, Jennifer Jenzik, Lisa A. Johansson, Robert F. Jordan, Tina C. Canazet, Allison Kasbarian, Edward K., Michaela L. Keenan, Natalie B. Kelbeck, John Kelly Jr., Kyle D. Kettel, Lisa M. Kernan, Jennifer L. Kilduff, Jesse L. King, Keith Klein, Adam J.T. Knight, Andrew C. Nutton, Deborah K. Konak, Sherry Ann Koski, Kelly C. Kramer, Jen K. Labrie Jesse, Lisa A. LaChance, Brittany A. LaFeur, Kristen M. Lagasse, Julie A. Lamar, Kerry A. Landry, Derek S. Laguino, Jennifer L. Lawrence, Susan E. Lawrence, Bethany Ann Levitt, Ann D. Lennox, Kenneth M. Leonard III, Lay J. Levesque, Andrea L. Lima, Jennifer L. Limoges, Sarah J. Lingwall, Lolita Lipa Roberts, Megan Lockett, Lauren Lombardi, Anna Lorenko Roca, Kerry L. Lucha, Lisa M. Lukowitz, Kimberly A. Lupino, Michelle E. Luzier, Susan J. Lyons, Julie F. Macaron, Vincent Macaron, Courtney Macropoulos, Catherine E. Mallow, Brian J. Main, Julie H. Malino, Jeremy W. Marcotte, Julie A. Marin, Anthony J. Marcella, Joy Marshall, Louise A. Martella, Tara M. Mascarat, Lisa L. Massey, Laurie H. Masterson, Heather Matarisi, Erin Mathau, Susan M. Mathiow, Shauna M. Maxwell, Patricia L. Maxwell, Kristen L. McCarthy, Martha McConnell, Maria R. McDermott, Cynthia J. McDonald, Amy J. McGovern, Dennis McGovern Jr., James McGovern, Stephen F. McCanna, Alexandria McKay, Christina McKenna, Kathleen M. McKinney, Janice McMone, Jason Mertz, Linda J. Middleton, Courtney Milburn, Lynn A. Millard, Meredith J. Miller, Roberta A. Millette, Theodore Mitchell, Mark A. Moniz, Jillian Morse, Molly Mata, Heather J. Mergida, Valerie K. Musciano, Emily K. Muzzy, Maureen Myers, Maureen Nadeau, Janine F. Nestor, Michael W. Nolan, James G. Normand, Kimberly A. O'Connell, Jessica L. O'Connor, Megan O'Hare, Deborah L. Oliver, Tracy G. Osterhout, Matthew V. Pava, Michael D. Palumbo, Laura A. Pallies, Julie A. Pankowitz, Ashley R. Papa, Carla Paquette, Laurie Ann Parry, Kyle Pendola, Christian M. Perry, Robin E. Petraka, Jennifer Pietras, Bradford Pingley, Christine C. Pinto, Kristen Pyrus, Michelle Plant, Kimberly A. Plant, Megan J. Pless, Donna M. Poole, Robin Pothier, Jennifer L. Price, Marissa A. Printer, Ann M. Printer, Don M. Pulano, Raymond A. Raboyne, Heather A. Rapson, Earl A. Reed III, Michaela R. Reed, Kerry A. Riley Potvin, Brittany L. Resendiz, Talia M. Reynolds, Daniel S. Reynolds, Jacqueline Ma Ritchie, Charlene A. Ritchie, Jenna L. Richard, Nicole A. Richards, Adele M. Richarit, Holly A. Reich, Colleen M. Risson, Tiffany Reish, Kerry A. Robichard, Rachel E. Rocchio, Michael Rockwell, Kerry A. Rooney, Norman Rosenfield, Sonia L. Rubin, Louis J. Ruffolo, Shori L. Rosito, Rebecca A. Russell, Tiffany L. Ryan, Maria C. Sakosha, Kimberly M. Sakuchi, Ann Sassone, Rika Saran, Cheryl Saucier, Raymond Savikas, Barbara Scanlon, Nicola Sheeb, Kevin W. Segal, Elise Sefcik, Antonella Servant, Kathleen Schaefer, Jamie L. Sheridan, Susan C. Sherman, Amy M. Samayo, Ryan A. Silver, Alicia C. Simus, Crystal L. Simus, Christine Saros, Karen B. Circa, Christian A. Squirts, Deanna M. Slazak, Megan E. Smith, Susan K. Smith, Michael A. Smith, Arthur Souza, Stacy C. Souza, Melissa Spaziano, Catherine Spearman, Robert E. Springer, Susan G. Squilanti, Scarlett D. A. St. Martin, Kristen St. Severe, Erica L. Steele, Jeffrey D. Stevens, Benjamin M. Streeter, Kathleen M. Sullivan, Stephanie Sullivan, Abby Rose Sutton, Patricia M. Satila, Mark A. Satila, Lynn Ann Swain, James E. Swanson, Lindsay C. Sweeney, Nicole L. Talbot, April Tandy, Elizabeth A. Tatry, Samantha M. Taylor, Kathleen Teft, Cynthia Texera, William N. Tenaglia, Scott Tennant, Lisa C. Thoreau, Gina Marie Therian, Melissa M. Thibodeau, Sarah M. Thomas, Helen Q. Tiernan, Lee J. Turango, Suzanne C. Tracy, Katrina A. Traficanti, Gregory D. Tripp, Courtney M. Tucker, Constance M. Tundis, Louis W. Turchetta, Vincent L. Turchetta, Deborah L. Tyree, Kerry Venenzia, Kimberly A. Vernava, Christine R. Vishoni, Sarah A. Vieira, Crystal Violet, Stephen P. Walker, Anne Marie Walsh, Andrew V. Wessner, Dale White, Bruce Whitehouse, Helen R. Whitlock, Michael Wilkinson, Joyce N. Windrow, Esther R. Wolk, Carla M. Walugian, Maura S. Young, Christina Zamorano, Nicholas L. Zamarelli, Amy Zenian. Thank you. Is there a second on this motion?
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Kathy Patno?
Yes.
David Florio?
No.
Luke Murray?
Yes.
Donna Colunian?
Yes.
James Pearson?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
4-1.
I mean, with one. I'm sorry. I'm looking.
Also, Madam Chairperson, all of the motions had a no vote. You didn't reflect that order. All the motions need to be 3 or 4 to 1, not 0.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It's not an easy night. Thank you for that comment. Let the record reflect that I did not call the roll correct. I did not call the vote correctly. So. Yes.
I know it's very hard for you to probably say all those names, especially phonetically. If you're going to call their names, you should have learned how to say all of their names properly.
All right. I just would like to comment the following, that at 66 years old, maybe I shouldn't be serving, because even if I had gone over all the names and been told and tried to remember them all, I probably still would have stumbled. I did the motion reading because I knew how difficult it would be for anyone sitting on this committee. And so as chair, I took the hit. Most times, I'm really sorry that I mispronounced people's names. I truly am. That being said, I'd like to move on to item number 5. The classified layoffs. I would like to move to affirm the recommendation of the superintendent that the following personnel be laid off on the conclusion of the 2018-19 school year, to be confirmed due to factors identified in the individual
There are still layoffs to be made. Thank you, Kelly.
and individual reference letters which include but are not limited to enrollment reductions, teachers returning from leaves of absence or returning from job share, possible loss of grant funds, fiscal constraints, and program changes. So that list, I do have them. Yeah. Carrie L. Adams, Heather R. Aguilar, Bonnie C. Amadon, Tammy L. Anderson, Shannon L. Andrews, Nancy E. Andrews, Tina M. Andrews, David R. Botch, Michelle M. Baum, Jacqueline Barnes, Brenda L. Beauchesne, Tammy L. Bagones, Deborah L. Bain, Linda Belmere, Kathleen Bennett, Michelle J. Benson, Mandy Bentley, Karen Bishop, Thomas E. Bobeck, Susan L. Brennan, Terry L. Bruno, Alexandria L. Bruno, Ryan N. Burgess, Elizabeth A. Burjohan, Stacy Butler, Deborah Carpenter, Michael Clark, Glenna Cloutier, Gary A. Colvin, Andrew A. Colvin, Carol A. Crowley, Melissa A. Delp, Carol Dion, Nicholas T. DeVosi, Harry H. Edmiston, Tammy A. Fiola, Mary C. Falcone, Diane M. Fallon, Kathleen S. Fanning, Andrea D. Ferguson, Mary Ferretti, Melanie R. Fitzgerald, Kimberly A. Friends, Carol Galvin, Stacy A. Gebler, Laurie Gemma, Michael A. Green, Taylor Hannigan, Constance A. Hargreaves, Donna Hartman, Joanne L. Hulkow, Sonia T. Ives, Lindsay A. Gemmo Horner, Matthew Jester, Jacques I. Jewell, Lisa M. Jobin Monty, Dawn S. Kirkland, John Klaus, Jennifer C. Coxan, Sarah D. Koppelman, Matthew Kurgan, Dalton Lackalade, Tanya Langlos, Lisa A. Leonard, Michaela LeVake, Dawn M. Lima, Anne Marie Longo, Alyssa M. Loveless, Rebecca Lozzi, Patrina Lunardelli, Joseph W. Manna, Mary H. Monacchio, Mackenzie Marrow Owens, Lisa A. McAdam, Roxanne L. McGrath, Kathleen A. Mealy, Mary Ann Medeiros, Ellen Millia, Sarah Money, Elizabeth A. Moore, Alan R. Moore, Mary Ellen Morelli, Renee R. Morin, Laurie Mullen, David J. Maloney, Kenneth M. Murphy, Zachary Murphy, David M. Nero, Jean M. Nickett, Olivia V. M. Nozo, Rebecca L. Nolan, Christine E. Ongano, Suzanne Pacheco, Bethany J. Pinardo, Diane A. Pendola, Casey J. Perry, Kathleen Pexarka, Herbert Pimentel, Kathleen M. Pizzo, Gail A. Pomfret, Kelly P. Powers, Tara A. Rachiel, Wayne Renarier, Todd M. Robichard, Sharon B. Rolls, Sandy L. Roy, Christopher Roost, Jennifer J. Sampaio, Kendra C. Santelli, Stephen D. Shuttard, Jessica C. Shuttard, Pamela Sisson, Caitlin Smith, Tara E. St. Germain, John Stasiano, Deborah Stravato, Kimberly Sturtle, Melissa L. Sullivan, Brittany M. Swain, Linda Lynn M. Toomey, Wayne M. Wadeck, Brian J. Walsh, Kathleen West, James A. Whitaker, Gail Whitaker, Susan M. Williams. Is there a second on that?
I stand in support of you all.
I second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Madam Chair, before you call the roll,
Yes.
I have concerns about this particular layoff for one reason and one reason, well, there's more than one reason. The particular concern I have is around statute. Understanding the CTA layoffs, we have a deadline mandated by law. No such mandate exists for school-related personnel. I believe a layoff in these numbers at this time is premature, and I would like to make a motion that we postpone this vote until a later date when we have more information about our budget situation.
I second that motion.
Could I have a ruling on this from our attorney, or is there nothing you need to say? I mean, is that, he's saying the truth? Okay, so
Do we have discussion on this?
we
or
can
no?
have discussion on it, yes, please.
'Cause
Mr. Murray?
I was unaware of this. I mean, I was aware of the deadline, June 1st deadline, but this is the first that's come to my attention. So I'm looking to hear from the administration on this.
So we're looking to have as much flexibility and as much transparency prior to having to make a decision about programs. So we wanted to move forward with all of the potential layoffs, to look at what all of our opportunity and options are as we look at program development. And that's why we brought them all forward tonight. That we can recall individuals. We have school committee meetings prior, but we need to sit down and take a look at all of our flexibility based on the options that we may have
What is the impact if we do not do this tonight versus next
There's a
Wednesday?
financial impact for the teachers, but what about with the school-related impact?
Well, there's a financial impact on both if we don't recall individuals, but I felt in terms of, being transparent and looking at programs as we went through the budget, to have all the layoffs tonight would be more appropriate for this community in terms of addressing what we're going to do moving forward. I mean, obviously, we don't have to have these layoffs. You could vote them down, and then we're going to bring these individuals back before and go through this process again. And we felt that as an administrative team, looking at everything that we have going before us and being open and honest with our employees in terms of what the ramifications could be as we move forward. So that's the rationale. It's not, there was no other reason other than we have a lot to do in the next 3 or 4 weeks looking at what the potential is as we went through that list in terms of what the outcome will be is if we have a level funded budget.
I'd like to postpone the SRP if we could. I understand the teachers, we had to because of the June 1st deadline. But if there is no deadline for the SRP, why are we putting these people through this at this time?
Because when we look at, it's the pleasure of the committee. However, recognizing that will be, depending on the scenario.
Well, let's play through this scenario, okay? So, because, you know, we've had discussions. I had a discussion with Ms. Mangiarelli. My understanding is that, you know, even if we do this next Wednesday, we don't know if we are going to get a positive vote, right? So if we, thinking through this, either way, next Wednesday, even if the council says we'll put out, or sorry, Tuesday, even if the council says we're going to put out the budget the way it was, we still run the risk that it gets voted down. And if it gets voted down, what sort of impact does that have if we haven't laid these people off?
It's more about, it doesn't have an impact in terms of the layoffs. However, that we're laying off 385 teachers, and we know that we're going to be reducing SRP based on a level fund. I think it was, we felt that it's important to bring together so that we can look at this programmatically and to be open and honest with our staff. You can not do the layoffs tonight.
No, I'm not asking that. What I'm asking is for more information. Sarah, can you weigh in on this?
I think Mr. Pearson was clear that there's a June 1st deadline for teachers, so we did the layoffs that we did because we have not gone through all the programs that would be required to be cut should we be level funded. So in order to provide the most flexibility amongst the teaching staff, we needed to do layoffs before the June 1st deadline. Mr. Pearson said that there is
What about
no similar
unemployment?
deadline on the SRP staff. I think it was a decision to look at programs in totality and all the staff that were in that program.
So what about unemployment? What about the cost of unemployment for the SRP as well? So we know what it's going to cost, you know, coming forward. What's the cost going to be for the SRP?
So assuming that everybody standing in this room files immediately, there's a 1-week grace period, so unemployment would kick in on June 23rd in the tune of $260,000 for CTA and approximately $66,000 for SRP.
Listen, I know there's a domino effect on this. I'm a realist, right? We cut through all the chatter. I need to understand, you know, I understand I had to make a tough decision here tonight. And there's a domino effect on how this program goes. Ultimately, my goal, in the end of the day, it's about the kids, salvaging our school system if everything goes awry and this thing gets voted down. But what I'm trying to get my head wrapped around is right now, we have a vote in front of us. Some new information has come to my attention.
Mine too.
I don't want to delay the inevitable, and I'm not looking to stifle the administration, but these are real jobs.
Correct.
This is a real situation, so I need some real information. I guess I know we make that decision, but
Right.
it doesn't happen in a vacuum. What is it going to stifle you? Is this part of the program mix? Do you need this flexibility? I'm asking a question.
So it really was about looking at programs in totality and looking at how deep we think we may have to go. And, you know, we have a lot of work to do in the next few weeks. And our plan is to come back and recall as many individuals, as I said before. But do we legally have to lay them off tonight? No. No. This was more in terms of us looking programmatically at, because there's, you know, without getting into it, but there's examples of, say, kindergarten, right? There's examples of other teaching assistants and other programs. And when we sat down and looked, we wanted to be able to have the flexibility and notify our employees that there may be a situation where you're not coming back and being transparent with them. So in terms of the legal response, and that was a decision that I made. So, you know, you can not vote on them, and then we can bring them back and vote on them again. But the plan was to look at programs and knowing that we have the flexibility now and notifying our employees that there may be a chance that you're not coming back.
If I may, real quick, you know, from what I understand, we would have to, if layoffs are coming for SRP employees, we would have to provide those employees with a 2-week notice by contract.
Correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Again, I'm only asking we postpone until we have a better
Sure.
understanding of the budget picture, given we have much more flexibility, and I think it's a bit much to say that the future situation is going to be laying off all of these employees permanently. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. That's why I'm asking to postpone this until, again, we have
And-
a better idea.
Right, we're not going to lay off all these employees, we're not going to lay off all these teachers permanently. But like we said, the fact is that if we have to cut 2 million, 2.1 million, and as people leave the district more, we wanted to have that flexibility of looking, and you don't have to lay off the teaching assistants tonight. This wasn't a ploy to get teaching assistants, this wasn't a ploy to say we're laying off the entire community. We're laying off we laid off 386 teachers tonight. And in our conversations about program development, we felt it appropriate to bring forward the SRP so that we could have flexibility, but you don't have to do that. You're absolutely right. You have a 2-week, we have a 2-week period. And our plan isn't to have everybody that's standing here tonight on unemployment either. We have a lot of work to do, but it gives us the flexibility.
What bothers me, Ms. Aronakis and Mr. Joe, could you move aside for a second? What bothers me is that young man right there who's been crying through this entire procedure. And if it means that he's worried, he's anxious and he's worried about the future of his mother and his future in this town. And if we can help the SRP by, I didn't even know this until Mr. Pearson said it. If we could give it a 2-week
Just
lapse.
postpone it
Postpone it.
until we have a
Right.
better understanding.
So
of-
I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that,
Thank
but I
you.
think the individuals need to know that.
I guess my only question is, are we delaying the inevitable? That is my question.
So-
Because this is emotionally
question-
draining for all of these people and for us. And if I'm just going to sit here in 2 weeks with some more information from me that tells me I have to make these layoffs, and I'm
Right.
sorry, I don't think it's fair. So I'm asking that question. If the scenario is one, next week they say, obviously we know the scenario, level fund, right? If they come back and say, whatever, 2.5, 3.7, we get everything back. Does it change, in your mind, this is your opinion, does it change the scenario?
The scenario in terms of, obviously, if we get level funded, right, I mean, if we're level funded, the reason we laid off the numbers we did is because, again, based on seniority in different positions, unlike well, there's several different classifications. And, postponing it isn't going to make a difference. However, the inevitable, if it's level funded, we're going to be back doing the same thing all over again. And that was the whole idea was, to have tonight so we can sit down starting tomorrow looking at all the different scenarios and options. It took us several weeks just last year, numerous times, when we laid off 48 individuals, I think. We lost 21 positions. This year is going to be a disaster. So
So can we run those scenarios on paper without having to lay off the people tonight?
Yep.
yes, yes.
Thank you.
Do you have a comment?
I do, Madam Chair. Rick Clooney, 607 Black Rock Road. What's stuck in my mind is $66,000 a week. If they need 2 weeks' notice and that 2 weeks' notice falls, they've all been given ample notice tonight that it's a possibility. If we wait until after June 20th, we're going to save $66,000 a week in unemployment. The people at home watching this, they're worried about their taxes going up $20 a week,
Right.
and we're so cavalier with $66,000, it doesn't make sense.
Thank you, Mr. Colonian. I haven't stated my opinion. I am in support of the layoff. Well, I'm not in support of laying everybody off, obviously, but I'm in support of the action that has been recommended to us by the superintendent. I would rather the pain happen tonight and not have to be repeated if that in fact happens. I think I think both the certified staff and the classified staff were apprised of the situation. They have been extremely respectful tonight, and I know this committee has appreciated that. There's been no one to come to the microphone to say that we weren't doing something we had to do. I think that you are united, all of you, as brothers and sisters in this union environment, and you need to remain strong. To separate this brotherhood, I think, is the incorrect thing to do. So I personally will vote yes on this motion, and then we can amend it after, but there is a motion on the floor. And if there isn't any further discussion, I guess we can move the vote, but I don't know if anybody from the public had anything else to say.
Moving the vote to postpone, is this? Madam
Okay.
Chair, you're moving the vote to postpone, correct? That's the motion on the floor that's been made and
I
seconded.
thought the first motion was to table it, okay.
Yes.
Well,
All right.
postpone, yeah.
Oh, because there
Can
wasn't
I-
a second, there
can I
wasn't a
say
second.
something?
I have a second.
And I want to be clear on something, no matter how this goes. I have the deepest respect for this administration and what they've done.
You can come in. You can
Go
come if
ahead.
you want.
Linda Caparelli, 45 Pine Tree Road. I'm wondering how many people are actually left beyond the 380 that you took from, who's left? I mean, seniority, I'm still here, I haven't got my slip, but how many other people are still knowing what at that point that they still have a job? How many people, I just want to know how many more on that list, basically, is beyond what you really needed to take?
I'm not sure of the answer to that. I don't know.
Who's left? Yes, how many people are left?
Uncertified and/or SRP?
Teachers.
Classified,
Yeah.
certified?
The teachers, I think there's 40 individuals that were not laid off tonight.
It's because I'm 66, right? But, I mean,
All right, whoa, back up, okay? Many of you know the system, okay? And I know, and for those who don't, okay? And I'm gonna throw a block for the administration because I've been in these meetings. It is difficult to make the jockeying in the end on how this goes down. If we get level funded, there'll be limited options on the programming. And so, as you know, people with seniority, with multiple certifications, get to bump other people. It is an extremely complex domino effect. So we've tried to give the administration latitude to make those calls after. We are hopeful that that won't happen. But with the June 1st deadline, we needed to make that decision. That is a tough call, and I get that doesn't make it any softer, but that is the way the system works. I don't like it, you don't like it, but that is the thing we needed to do tonight. But I guess what I'm asking now is that piece of it has been approved. Unfortunately, it falls on the backs of many teachers. But at this point, what I'm trying to get clarity on, and as the gentleman said, what if there is the financial effect? And that's the other thing about this, is there is a financial impact. So I don't know if I feel comfortable moving forward. One, there's a financial impact, and two, it doesn't mean that we cannot work these scenarios on paper unless you can give me a real reason why you need that flexibility. And I have deepest respect for the brotherhood who's out here, but, being draconian in the cuts, I don't think is the right way to go, for me, in my opinion.
So are we ready to move on tabling this? Motion to go beyond, before we continue this call for the vote, we need a vote from the committee to continue past 10 o'clock.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we continue past 10 o'clock.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries 5-0. Moving on to the classified layoff tabling of this particular motion. Is there a motion? There was in a second. So could we have a roll call, please? No.
David Florio,
Yes.
Luke
Yes.
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 Motion carries 4 to 1, no. Hmm? Yes. So so what that means for the public is that the SRP, that those names that I just read, the classified layoffs, did not take effect. So. Moving on to citizens.
say something,
Citizens'
Kathy?
comments is
Okay.
coming right now. So if you. If this meeting is not over, so if you intend on leaving, please silence your conversation so we can continue our business. Thank you. Moving on to agenda number 5, citizens' comments. Are there any comments from the citizens gathered?
Yeah. Do I have to go through the name again?
Yes, please.
Okay. Allison Dotter, 25 Audubon Lane. I came here tonight, I've already spoken, but I'm frustrated right now because last night I sat at that town council and I spoke, and the message that came across was communication. And I can't believe that that question came up tonight after we called all those names. You guys meet, what is it called? You meet prior to the meetings, what's the name of it?
Executive session.
Executive
We did
session.
not have an
Okay, but
executive session.
You met with the town council. You guys have got to communicate as well. We can't say it's all the town. We can't say it's all the school. That conversation that just not wasted, but took about 15, 20 minutes of my time, everybody's time here, everybody that came out, that should have happened prior to this. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for.
Kathy, can I just say, because
Just, please,
just-
can I have
No.
the next person at the microphone, please?
Hello, my name is Megan Plumley. I have a question. So, I know you can't really get into specifics, but in a ballpark range, how many of those teachers do you actually think you'll be able to hire back?
So, as I said, that our original budget didn't include any of this tonight, right? So based on level funding, we met and took a look and saw all the different scenarios. So we expect hopefully most of these people coming back. But the reason we have to go so deep is because when we look at different certifications, then we start to see someone with seniority and they have 4 or 5 different certifications, just the whole process of how we look at who's below them. And so we felt safe in terms of this number. I know it's an incredible number. I doubt Coventry's, or I don't know, but never laid off this number before. But it gives us the utmost flexibility. If we get level funded, we're facing a scenario that we've never faced before in a short period of time. And we have to look at that. But the plan would be to recall a majority of these teachers, a majority of SRP, but it was really looking at the flexibility of where we're going to be going. And you saw all the different programs tonight and different opportunities, because at some point we'll be coming back. Again, I want to be optimistic, and like Mrs. Aronakis said, getting people out and getting to the community and really expanding the reach based on the last all-day referendum. But worst-case scenario, we're going to have to come back before the committee and actually take a look at all those different individual scenarios, and the committee would have to vote on those. So it gives us the most flexibility. It's not a scare tactic. We would have said this months ago if we were trying to. I mean, I saw how, just after the vote, we saw how stirred up everybody was, adults. I had, like I said, emails. If we had done that 3-4 months ago, maybe it would motivate, but it wouldn't be fair to every individual here. So, I can't give you a number, but we can't operate schools without, and you're absolutely right, the level of SRP and the level of CTA, but it was really to give us the most flexibility so we could come back and recall as many people as possible once we figure out what the budget's going to be.
I completely understand what you're saying, but then my next question is, why are you encouraging these teachers to look for employment elsewhere if you're intending on hiring the majority of them back?
I'm not encouraging anybody to look for, this is, but, you know, we need to do it for the flexibility. So,
All right, well, thank you for your time, Mr. Levis.
Thank you.
How you doing? Jim McCallum with 251 Reed Ave. Just a quick question. We talked about it a little bit last night too, with the numbers of how much it's going to cost in unemployment for each week. How much is that going to be? Because we talked earlier about how do we sway the vote? How do we get people to understand how it's going to affect them? If you're going to, somehow or another, people are going to feel this,
right,
whatever that is, they need to know that too. So what is that number going to be, and how's that going to affect the budget and how they might still be taxed and still have to fund this somehow? The money, all you're doing is shifting chairs on that Titanic, basically.
We have to recall as many people as possible, as quickly as possible.
Right.
We sent an email out because we've tried to schedule, I don't know if we scheduled it yet with the school committee, but the day after the all-day referendum, which is a Friday night, we want to have a school committee meeting. We also have a school committee meeting, I believe, mid-June. So our plan is to take a look. I mean, unfortunately, that's being dragged out to the 20th, and individuals could start collecting on the 23rd. But we feel like, you know, we're going to work hard to look at what our different scenarios are and come up with that. We don't want people out on unemployment, obviously collecting
Right.
$200 and some odd $1,000. Right, it's just going to, that's not our plan. But we need to see what the budget is, and starting tomorrow, we'll be looking at different scenarios, and then recalling back as many people as we can, as quickly as we can, because we don't want to lose, you know, our original plan is not to lose any of these individuals.
No, I get that, but my question is, what is the dollar figure that you're coming up with? Is it 66,000, or what was that dollar figure per week that people, say like worst case scenario, that nobody comes back, and this is what, because those are the numbers we can go to our neighbors with and say, look, hey, you might be doing this, but again, we're kicking the can down the road. I mean, it's going to come back on us one way or the other.
So based on the votes tonight, because CTA was the only group that was laid off, it'll be $260,000 a week, assuming everybody files at the maximum benefit, beginning June 23rd. That's why I'm not dropping that number down. So
Right.
it's
So 200 and what?
$260,000
All right.
per week. And you asked how that would be funded. That would cause us to reduce other areas in the budget, because just like a healthcare cost or whatnot, we have to pay that unemployment. So the longer that is carried out, the more we have to look to reduce from our program budgets.
Right. Now, does that just come from the school committee budget, or is that reduction, is that just from the school part, or does that come from, you know, other parts, municipal, whatever?
No,
So
this
it's
is
from the
just school committee. We only have control over the school committee budget here.
Okay. All right, because I mean, I don't know if I don't know if that sways the vote quite as much, but if they don't care anyway, you know, I mean, but it's good for them to know anyway, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Positive about all this, there's no blind sides. We agree both times, there's never any blind sides. So the SRP at least knows, if there's a level funded budget, what programs are going to be cut, if you're attached to that program, where you could get bumped. So the knowledge is there. I am very pleased the action wasn't taken. The knowledge is there. Ms. Patnott, I thank you for your concern, your comments. I have no fear that this union is divided. We will always stand together. So congratulations and thank you.
Joe Bunch, 43 Fieldstone Drive. I have a question. So according to the referendum, if we do double sessions at the high school, won't it cost more to operate?
I can't answer that. I'm going to let the superintendent answer that.
So you're saying based on you mean if we had to go there? There's a lot of questions that have to be answered. However, in terms of double sessions, you split the school in half, right? So not everybody's going in the morning. Some go in the morning, some go in the afternoon. So it doesn't cost any more. We pay by the bus by the day. The thing about double sessions, Joe, is that they haven't happened in Rhode Island since the 70s. And it's not this is not, like I said before, this is not something that we want to do. We still have to figure out the whole CTE piece to it. But when we looked at if we're level funded, and that goes back to the number of individuals, we looked at all the different certifications and we looked at where people could potentially go. And it's an incredible amount of number, we know that. But we felt comfortable that that was a number that we needed to do. So the key, though, is if we do double sessions, then there's a lot of positions that won't be there, if that happens. Double sessions is mainly doing the core content areas, language, phys ed, and then we may have to have, depending on the scheduling, which is going to take a long time to do, we may have to have a couple of other areas for students to go to. It's not anything desirable, but when we looked at the numbers, and especially now when we start looking at the tuitions going out, I'm going to be optimistic and say people are going to stay here and fight, but the reality is that there are a lot of people that are already thinking of moving and pulling their kids out. And we get emails daily, and we have numbers daily, and we just don't have the ability just to cut certain positions and keep the schools intact. So again, this is not about leadership with that. We get to that stage, it's just, I can't even comprehend, but we sat down and we talked. This is about the only way we could go. And again, it hasn't happened since the 70s, but we just don't have the ability to cut teachers any other way. When we look at if it comes up to, $2 million, $2.3 million, and again, I don't want to throw just numbers out there because we're not sure what it'll be. Like, as long as this goes on, if a budget doesn't pass and we keep going, are people going to hang in here? So, let's hope that we just don't go there. That's not, it's the way that we get down to a certain number. So it's not a great way to offer in education, just like cutting football, cutting hockey. That's not cutting all the activities, right? But those are the things when we looked at cutting over $2 million, like that's where we go, because we still need to have teachers and the support staff that we need and clerical staff, but there'll be reductions in all those areas. That's the reality. So I know that's a long-winded way of answering your question, but the goal is we can't get there. There's nothing good about double sessions. I'm going to tell you, there's nothing good about that scenario.
Can I just add something? So just to get directly to your point, because this is more of a community-wide issue than just a school-wide issue here. In the long run, it will cost us significantly more to send our Coventry students out of district to educate them if we don't invest in the community programs that we have here. So it's not just the people in this room, and that's why we brought forward the budget that we did, because we were trying to invest in this system to keep them here. Because yes, in the long run, if we do double sessions, it will cost us more because we'll be sending our kids to neighboring communities.
Thank you.
All right, bear with me, I'm a little nervous, but, so double sessions makes it sound to me like you're gonna have to be busing these kids twice as much as they are being bused. So that's another cost. Fuel for the buses, maintenance of the buses that are now gonna be running twice for these kids to get to and from school. The other thing I keep thinking about too is I don't want my grandson to be going to school till 6 o'clock at night. I mean, he's got other obligations. He's got, well, the family. Is it conducive to any family in here to have your child at school till 6, to not go in till noon? That's pretty disruptive. And from a cognitive point of view, developmentally, they're still developing. They're high school students, yes, but their brains are still developing. And this is going to be a huge disruption. I'm sorry. That's how I see it too. The other thing too is I'm wondering is how many special education staff are going to be laid off? And how many IEPs are going to be met? Legally, IEPs? How does this happen? You know, how are these IEPs, the staff? How many of you are special ed teachers? How many of you are support staff to these kids? I thank each and every one of you. My grandson has come a long way. Mrs. Studdard, you know, you had him, I don't know, she was sitting over here, but middle school, he had a difficult time. But there were teachers that supported him, just like the other students that spoke. I'm a pre-K teacher, not here, but I understand what it is like to support a child and to feel for them. And it's breaking my heart to hear all these names. I have a granddaughter, she's kindergarten at Tyoke. It's going to break her heart not to see her, Mrs. Maxwell, in school. Every time the name was read off my grandson, I feel bad for Brian. He wanted to come. He wanted to know what was going on. He wanted to stay informed. Just like all the other students that came up. They want to be informed. They want to do the right thing. They need their teachers to be there tomorrow. They need them to be there next month, next week, next month, next year. Even after they've graduated, they need their teachers because their teachers are family, just like their families are. It's an extended family. I'm pretty sure that each student that sat here had that jab each time they heard a name that they knew. And I thank you for recognizing that. That's all I wanted to say. I just have a question about the IEPs, the support for the kids.
Right, so by law, we have to meet the IEPs.
Yes, you do.
But the reality, and we will meet the IEPs, but the reality is...
How? How without all these people? How?
Right, thank you. So the reality is, as we said, we put forward a budget that supports all this, right? But the voters voted down, so tonight, we're creating flexibility. The reality is, you may not have the same teacher. If the budget fails, we may have people who taught at high school who may be teaching in elementary. You may not have the same teacher. You may not have the same teaching assistant. That's the reality of if the budget fails.
I hear that.
So,
okay, I hear that.
But we have to meet the need. We'll definitely meet the need. Because it's by law, we have to meet the need. But
yes.
I think that's the reality, is if the budget fails, people may be in different positions.
And you're saying that they're going to move teachers around, but as every teacher knows, students need consistency. They need to see familiar faces when they walk in that door. How are they? You all had a chance to get an education. I had a chance to get an education with the teachers I knew, and they were there. Give them that opportunity. I know you guys are trying. I know it's the town. I know it's the voters. But there's got to be some way to keep that consistency for these kids, because that's how they strive. And that's how each and every one of these teachers strive. They come and give their heart every day. They come to work. They don't get paid the best, but they do it anyway because they're doing it for the kids. I know, I'm a teacher. They do it for the kids. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can this just be avoided if we have the original plan? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
As long as everybody goes out and votes for it, yes.
Can you all just vote for the original plan instead of ruling us?
That's not our vote to make. That's your parents' vote, or somebody out, whoever's out here needs to go vote. You know, we're not the, I said earlier, we're not the enemy. We don't disagree with these comments. I think we are in unison with the schools, and we're on the same team. So I think you're absolutely right to be angry. Channel that anger into getting out the vote.
Can I, excuse me, can I just
sure.
jump in, though? Just to clarify, before we can vote on something, we have to have the town council bring forward the same
budget.
exact budget.
Exactly.
So I just want to make
That's
sure
important that it gets out there.
that that's clear.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Town council meeting here Tuesday.
I think we have another citizen's comment, so if you could please give your attention. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry about being late to
okay.
this, but I heard a lot, so I think I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on. I keep hearing the word flexibility come up, the most flexible option. I keep hearing that, and flexible, and I'm sorry, hang with me here. Flexible means to, bend the easiest way, but that means that something has to be solidified. You have a solid plan, that means already. And I implore you to try to break that, try to melt it down, try to make it a liquid and think about other ways, try to break through, try to think of something else. If anything history has taught us is that we, Americans, we're very creative people. I mean, during World War II, we faked an entire campaign to throw off the Germans, and it helped us win the war. During the Revolutionary War, we used guerrilla tactics, and it helped us win against a force that was gigantic. So we are creative people. We can think of different solutions in the worst of times. I implore you, I beg you to try and think of something different before June 1st. Please, please.
Thank you for your comment. So, were there any other final comments from the committee? If not, do we have any? I'd like to have a motion to schedule the next meeting.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that the next meeting of the school committee be scheduled for Thursday, June 13th, 2019, at 6 p.m.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries 5-0. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we adjourn at 10:24 p.m.
Second the motion.
Not a second.
All in favor? Aye. Chair votes aye. Motion carries.
Hey, Mrs. Stell's on.